All right. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to Geekery Abides, episode 41.
Hello there. We still need that button.
We have a hello there.
Do we?
Hello there.
No, not that one.
That's
Not
fucking
that
Obi-Wan
one.
Kenobi.
The Mrs. Doubtfire. Hello there.
Oh, no, that's just hello.
Oh, that's just hello. That's
and it's
right.
in the intro, so that one got taken.
That's
off
why
the
it got. We did have it. Okay.
We did, indeed.
I was misremembering.
So although we went a long time without having hello there on the
That's true.
soundboard, so I can't act like I'm offended because we proved that that's a thing. So,
Yes.
welcome to episode 41 of Geekery Abides. We are here in late August. Let's go ahead and
You should probably change the banner.
oh, well, that's been spoiled.
Spoiler alert.
Again, it's that second fucking screen, man. It should let me.
Oh, God damn it.
Should let me flip that. All right. So, let's go ahead and jump on in, hit the intro, and get started on the episode.
He who is ashamed of his geekery has forgotten the face of Stan Lee.
You the proud, the geeky.
This is the podcast, Geekery Abides.
Hello and welcome to Geekery Abides, episode number 41. I am Tad, and with me, as always, is Peter. We're here to talk about all things geeky that is not Stephen King. Because that's really the breadth of this show. It's pretty much whatever we want to geek out about, except for Stephen King. And I'm always tempted because I just get so into I'm into this whatever and on the news and stuff, and I'll almost grab something that's King related. I'm like, oh no, I can't.
That goes on the other show.
Can't do that. It's got to be in the other show.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump on in. First of all, we'll share the emails. If you want to email the show, you can do that either Peter at geekeryabides.com or Tad at geekeryabides.com. Tad is TADD. And that is how you contact the show. Let us know what you think. Do you agree, disagree with something? Show ideas, any kind of thing. Lists.
Top 10 lists, yeah.
Yeah, when we do lists, you can share your list there. All kinds of fun stuff.
I remember to check my email before this episode.
And Peter checks his emails now. So.
Yes.
With even his wife ripping on him about not checking. So
Still.
That's what we got on the email front, and then let's go ahead and jump on over to what have you been watching, reading, playing. So, go ahead. This is my episode, so I'll let you go first.
All right. So I have been watching. I finished House of the Dragon. I remember I was partway through. I think I was just barely into season 2.
Yeah,
is
not
where
even
I
all
was
the way
at.
through episode 1 when we
Yeah.
were.
So I finished that literally 1 or 2 days later.
Yeah.
Because we record on Saturday and I still have Sunday off, so I watched a whole bunch of it on Sunday, and then I think I watched 1, 2, or 3 episodes throughout the week. I had it done before the next weekend. I'm like, damn it, I have to wait a whole week before to talk about this.
Yeah.
We went and saw Alien Romulus.
Yes.
And then been watching some Criminal Minds with my wife. That's her show, so whenever I'm in the room and she's watching it, that's catch it. Interesting serial killer stuff and all that.
Have you watched a Mark Hamill episode yet?
Still haven't got to that one yet. I think she took a little bit of a break from it for a week there, and we watched some other stuff. I don't even remember what we watched, but I did watch a Disney movie this morning with my daughter. I watched the classic Tarzan, the good one.
Never seen that.
From the 90s. So I'm still in the Harry Potter series reading. I'm currently in book 6, so a couple more books in.
How many books are there?
7.
Oh, okay. I should be able to remember that. Well, I guess there's not 7 Dark Tower books, so.
There's technically 8, so. And then I have played something besides 7 Days to Die for the first time in a while.
Oh, yeah?
The new update for 7 Days to Die has had my attention. I'm still playing it here and there, but my wife and I have really started to get into Dead by Daylight. We
Hey, we were gonna play.
yeah, we are going to.
We were going to yesterday.
Yeah.
This is the first time I thought about that. We said Friday night.
I said
completely.
I said it.
I mean, I was doing show prep,
Yeah.
but yeah.
But her big streamer Jeremy Dooley has been playing it since the updates. They introduced a new mode. They did it for a test run. Unfortunately, we missed that. It's where it's 2 killers versus 8 survivors instead of just 1 versus 4, which is really interesting. Kind of seeing like 2 killers running around with 8 survivors.
Yeah.
So we're kind of excited to see that. Hopefully, that becomes like an actual playing mode instead of just an experiment.
Yeah.
Because then me and her can go kill.
I still think there's a hole in the market. Give me like a game like that, killers and victims, but it's almost like an Alien Isolation hide and seekish type thing, where it's like like you basically got to survive a certain period of time or something, rather than like
complete a task and escape.
Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like the horror movie slasher fan in me just feels like that would be kind of an interesting.
You feel like there's a market for that?
Yeah, I think so.
I think you're right.
Maybe even if you do like the right kind of killer, you could do like the Jason teleportation, or you could just like bamf to different parts of the.
They have killers like that in Dead by Daylight. We were watching, like I said, we were watching Jeremy play it the other day, and he was just doing like killer roulette, where he's just playing by himself and he's played the killer over and over again. But he would spin a wheel and play that killer, because there's 36, 32 killers now.
Yeah.
And one of them, literally, you can just put like that's my teleportation spot. And you walk to the other side of the map and no one's there, teleport back.
Yeah.
So I will say, listening to my wife watch him play as Chucky freaked her out. It was even better.
Is he DLC now?
Yeah, he's DLC.
Okay.
He's available.
Interesting.
My wife told me not to tell you that, so
And here you've told me.
I've already told you. She will not be tuning in for this episode, by the way, just to let you know. And then, so yeah, just playing Dead by Daylight. That's what I've been reading, watching, and playing.
All right. Mine's pretty light. MLB The Show playing, Reading the Stand, Alien Romulus, which you already mentioned, and then I did a massive heavy binge of Better Call Saul last weekend. I guess I could add Breaking Bad, because I did start that up.
Sure.
But I think I went through almost 3 seasons last weekend.
That's all you did. You said you came and talked to me at work the other day, and you were just
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, that's all I did."
That's pretty much all I did.
Yeah.
So eat,
That's-
sleep, and watch Better Call Saul.
That's what I did for House of the Dragon.
Yeah.
After we recorded last Saturday, is I went home that Sunday. I woke up and turned it on.
Yeah. So that's all I've got. And then I did start Breaking Bad, so I'm a couple episodes into that.
Yeah.
So good to go visit old friends again.
Yeah.
So so that's all I got on this front. Let's go ahead and jump on over to the news. The first one is a lot of D23 stuff here. Ben Mendelsohn is joining Andor Season 2
Nice.
as Director Krennic.
Nice.
So, of course, Andor is a prequel to Rogue
I need
One.
to watch
so
Andor.
You do. You should catch up pretty quick. I mean,
should.
relatively quick, 'cause I don't know when the second season starts, but it's definitely coming down the pike. So, so they at D23 they had a bunch of sizzle reels for various things. Kind of what I had speculated D23 would be all the shit that they didn't cover at Comic-Con. And they had some sizzle reels, and the sizzle reel for Andor showed Ben Mendelsohn as
nice.
Director Krennic, which is actually kind of a surprise. Like, this day and age, they cast him, shot stuff. I think filming is wrapped, and none of that ever got announced, leaked, nothing. And it wasn't until this D23 thing popped up where it was like, oh, look, he's in this show. I give him props. That takes a lot of
Keeping that quiet.
discipline to keep that locked down. So I'm excited, because I think Ben Mendelsohn as Director Krennic is one of my absolute favorite aspects of the Disney era Star Wars. So to get more of him is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like you could just feel through the screen that he grew up a Star Wars fan.
Oh yeah.
Like, he just played it to the hilt at every turn, and it was it was glorious. So
Mike M is in with us in the chat, and he says, "Tad, is that a Last Crusade T-shirt?"
oh yeah, it is. Got my knight.
It says, "I want you to choose wisely, brothers of the cruciform sword."
Yeah, indeed. So of course I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan.
Yeah.
And today was completely a roulette. I have my closet broken up, work shirts, blank, type shirts, and then geek shirts. I just grabbed a geek shirt, stuck my hand in. That's the shirt I'm
the
wearing.
one I'm
And
wearing.
it was this one. So pretty happy though. I love this guy.
I don't have a Game of Thrones shirt. I sometimes kind of keep like to the theme. Like if we're talking Halloween, I wear my Michael Myers shirt.
Yeah.
And everything like that. But I don't. So I just wore my Marvel shirt.
Yeah, and then I'd like to claim that like, oh, he's a knight, so it's kind of close, but like literally
Yeah.
it was absolutely random.
Completely random.
This could have been anything.
He
So.
says you chose wisely.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, pretty excited about Mr. Mendelsohn.
That'll be great.
Not only the return of Director Krennic, but also his cape
Do you remember how long the episodes are?
for
Andor?
I think an hour would be my guess.
Were they?
I mean,
Or was that before?
like your 45 minute, like you're.
Well, I'm just saying.
Average.
I'm like we've had the Disney Plus shit where it's like, yeah, it's usually about 45 minutes, and then they give us 2 episodes that are 22.
I don't remember that
Okay.
happening much with Andor. So,
Okay.
I-
says it's 12 episodes long, so I was kind of thinking like, should I put it on tomorrow and everything like that? I'm not gonna have time to do all of it, but maybe I'll start and watch a couple episodes.
yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I'd like to chat with you about it at some point. I think
Okay.
it's pretty much universally loved. I have some gripes a little bit,
Sure.
but it's like a weird like Two-Face type thing where like I absolutely adore it, but there's also some problems I have with it. I would just be
That's
interested to see
you
what
see. The thing is, I understand that where people get upset with that for some reason, but you're allowed to love something and still have little critiques about it. You know?
Yeah. So if you end up watching it, we'll have to chat about it.
Absolutely.
So let's go ahead and jump on over to the next one, which is bad news. Acolyte has been canceled. I'm sure some of you saw this. After
I did see this. I also saw an article just last night talking about there's a hashtag out there trying to save it.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. I just never buy into those things. I know it
Yeah.
goes back to like Star Trek and back in the 60s.
Family Guy
and-
also like had a big fan outcry when it first got canceled, and they brought it back after that.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
whatever. People can do whatever they want. I just never believe that those things have much hold much weight. But yeah, so this one's pretty strange because there are sources saying that Lucasfilm was actually in early development for season 2, including putting together a writers' room and having preliminary conversations with directors as recently as last month, which is after the show aired.
Yeah.
So it just seems weird that they were doing all that work for it then to get canceled. I don't know. I feel like there's more
Yeah.
afoot because it wouldn't just be a matter of, oh, the ratings weren't good enough so we canceled it, because it's like they would have known that. So why a month ago would they have been talking
Yeah,
to
exactly.
people? I don't know. It just seems weird. I hope for more leaks, because if this is true, they would have been prepping for season 2 while knowing the ratings of the first season, as well as the backlash from a small segment of fandom. So my question would be, what changed?
Yep.
So, I mean, I enjoyed the show. It had its issues for sure. I'm kind of on the realm of like, I really enjoyed the show. I would have loved to have seen more. But I can also see where the ratings did taper off, because I think like the show didn't pace itself very well. So I could see where they were lost viewers over time. So that's
Yeah.
kind of it's a craft thing, right?
And there's always that thing with Star Wars where there's that hardcore group of Star Wars fans that hates everything that comes out. So
yeah.
they just nonstop criticize it. So
Yeah.
it kind of makes me wonder if we're ever going to get a Star Wars show that lasts 4 or 5 seasons
Yeah.
with how much negativity there is in the community. I hate it. I wish there wasn't that, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that that's the other reason I want leaks too, because it's like the worst part of fandom that have just been anti everything with this, or like taking a victory lap like they won, but it's like I don't know that they have anything to do with it. You
Yeah.
know, so I don't know.
Hopefully something comes out that confirms like, oh no, we canceled this for this reason.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, it had absolutely nothing to do with these fans who threw a fit.
Yeah, exactly.
The small minority too.
Yeah, and they are. They're just a very vocal minority.
They are.
So next up, we've got a title for Avatar 3, as well as a release date. It's coming out Christmas 2025. It is Avatar Fire and Ash.
Oh, I still need to watch the second one.
Oh, really?
I have never seen the second Avatar.
Oh, I enjoyed it. I enjoy those movies, man.
There was something going on when it came out that I was just like, oh, was it last December?
I think so.
Yeah, that's when I left and went and worked at the new job and had no
Oh.
time.
Okay.
So that's why I missed it. And then it's on HBO, so
Oh,
I mean on Max, so I should just watch it I'm gonna watch that tomorrow.
yeah.
I'm gonna text my wife so she can remind me.
So it was the title was announced at D23. James Cameron says, quote, "It's so gratifying to feel the love for this world of Pandora and these characters that my team has been working on for over 18 years now. I can't wait to show you what we've been working on for Avatar 3. Every day when I'm reviewing new shots, it's like Christmas morning. The characters are so alive and feel so real. As you expect, it's the insane adventure, but it's also got very emotional stakes more than ever before. We're going into a really challenging territory for all the new characters that you know and love, or for all the characters you know and love. There are new characters, especially ones we think you're going to love or love to hate. You're going to see a lot more of Pandora, the planet that you've never seen before. So Also, I'd point out from the nerdy perspective, this might be the first time James Cameron has ever done a third movie.
Holy shit.
He did the second Alien movie after Ridley Scott did the first. He did the first 2 Terminators, but not the third. So it's like...
Didn't he do Titanic 3 when Icebergs Strike Back?
No, that's 2.
Oh, right.
When the Iceberg Strikes Back. John Williams scored.
Dun.
Iceberg. Sprite, motherfucker!
Just spears
a boat.
right through the middle of the ship.
Oh yeah, so that'd be cool. I mean,
Yeah.
I love James Cameron. I remember when everyone was like throwing dirt on the second movie before it came out, kind of thinking like, "Oh, it's been so many years since the last movie.
Does
Like,
anyone really care?" Yeah, still made a shit ton of movie. money.
Nobody talks about it anymore.
Yeah.
There's no memes. Like there's people, and I'm like, and I remember just telling people like, "You are fucking morons if you vote against James or root against James Cameron."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I kind of understand where it's like it has been a long time since the last movie, but I'm like, I'm not going to doubt James Cameron. And guess what? Is in the top 5 grossing movies of all time.
Avatar 2?
Avatar 2. So
Good Lord.
yeah, I believe 3 of the 5 are James Cameron in the top 5. So
Holy shit. You're not kidding.
speaking of Mr. Cameron, James Cameron
$2 billion. Good Lord.
James Cameron confirms a classified Terminator project that has been rumored.
Dun, 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 dun.
No word on it. But about a year ago, rumors came out that Cameron was writing a new Terminator film inspired heavily by AI. Asked about it recently, he said it's totally classified. I don't want to have to send out a potentially dangerous robotic agent if you were to talk about it, even retroactively. So, throwing a little humor in there. I don't know, man. I love the Terminator. First 2 Terminator movies. Terminator 2 is one of my all-time favorites. That's on my Mount Rushmore of things for fandom. We covered that in episode 1. I just don't know with this series, man. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel worn out. Like, I just don't know if I can. I don't know we'll see. I'm not going to say for sure, but I don't know, man. It's been one element of a disappointment or another. It seems like since 1991 with Terminator 2.
Didn't you just say don't bet against James Cameron?
Yeah, but
I mean,
how much is he actually going to be involved? That's the thing I'd be questioning, because like he's been involved in some other stuff that he was like partially involved, and he helped produce or he helped develop or whatever, but he didn't like direct. So
Yeah.
like I don't know, because he's actually even been a little bit more involved in some like Dark Fate, I think. So it's like being partially involved doesn't mean much. Like if James Cameron were to say like I'm directing the next fucking Terminator, then like. I'll
sign me up.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay,
like,
okay,
immediately.
okay,
But,
Ted. Okay.
but this franchise has put me through a lot.
Yes, it has. Avatar: The Way of the Water. Just FYI, number 7 all time. Top lifetime grosses. Number 7. Avatar. The Way
Oh,
of
it's
the
not
Water.
in the top 5.
Nope. Number 7.
Oh,
Avatar is number 4. I did not know that it dropped to number 4. Number 1, Episode 7. Number 2, Endgame. Number 3, No Way Home. Spider-Man
I don't
No
know
Way
if you're
Home.
looking at the right list. None of that.
Top lifetime grosses. Box Office Mojo by IMDb Pro.
I don't know. None of that sounds right.
That's what it says.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I'm almost positive that at least the first Avatar and Titanic are still in the top 3. So
It says Titanic is number 9.
yeah, there's something.
That's below Infinity War and Black Panther and Top Gun Maverick.
There's something to that list that's whether it's like
Do you count worldwide? Is that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, worldwide. You got to make sure inflation is either counted or not counted. Like, yeah, I don't know.
This is just domestic.
Yeah, there you
Aha!
go. There you go.
Avatar's number 1.
And Mike saying
Avatar: The Way of the Water's number 3. Titanic's number 4.
yeah.
I was
Wait,
on domestic.
Say that one more time.
Avatar 1, Endgame 2, Way of the Water 3, Titanic 4, Force Awakens 5.
Yes, that's
Yes, I was on domestic. I apologize, Tad.
I was not saying like I can't say I follow it religiously, but I feel like I got my finger on the pulse enough. I will say Avatar 1 being number 1 again is actually a little bit of a cheat because they had that re-release before the second one, so they were able to add to the box office quite heavily, which isn't a cheat. It's just that isn't all in one run. I mean, Star Wars,
Titanic's been released 2 times since its original release, and it's number 4, and you're not saying anything about that one.
Yeah, but most of the money came that first time. A lot of people didn't flock to the theaters for a re-release of Titanic.
I went and saw it.
Well, yeah.
My wife still questions whether we went and saw it. That's one of those ones where it's like, we went and saw this, and she's like, no, we didn't. I'm like, yes, we did.
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't like Avatar where they actually like added a shitload of money.
That's true.
But they made a lot.
Did they
of money.
did they make a lot of money when it re-released?
Avatar? It wasn't number 1. it got surpassed, and then when it did the re-release, it got back to number 1.
Oh yeah, because Endgame passed it.
Yeah.
And then it would jump back.
Yeah, so-
I see what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it looks like Mike was with me saying no way. So yeah. So it's like I like
Apologies, that was domestic. But No Way Home is number 7.
yeah, and
Worldwide,
that fits. Like
Yeah.
that feels right to me. But
Good
to say
Lord.
but to say that's up there above some of the other stuff, I'm like, there's no way, man.
Jurassic World is number 8. That's a movie that came out this year. Number 10 is Inside Out 2.
Oh yeah.
Which I knew it. I knew it. I saw a thing saying it's the highest grossing animated film of all time, and I'm like, there's no way that that's number 1. I didn't realize it was that high, but number 9, right above Inside Out 2, is The Lion King.
That's been re-released at least once.
Live the king.
Hey, Scar was right. That's all I'm saying. Hashtag Scar was right.
You know what? Apparently you were. According to the trailer from Mufasa, yeah, you fucking were. God.
Yeah. Speaking of Disney, Toy Story 5 is coming.
I know.
According to D23. So normally, I mean, I hated 4. I really did.
Especially with the reason. Tell them the reason why, though. You can't just say that. And
I've said it before on the
Okay.
show.
Okay.
I feel like even recently.
Okay.
So where it's just like,
It's-
you got it.
3 wrapped it up with such a nice bow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but this one intrigues me a tiny bit. So D23, it was announced, it was revealed that the film would see the toys facing a new challenge, technology.
Oh.
And I believe I saw a screen grab of like the toys sitting all sad with like a blanket over the kid, and you could see the light of a tablet. So that is actually kind of, at least like, that makes sense. Like that would actually, feels like a story to tell. And that the other part of it is 4 already took the brunt of like undoing the ending of 3.
Yeah.
Now that you've undone it,
Well,
like 5 doesn't
yeah.
have to justify its existence anymore.
Exactly.
Like they're just going to keep making these till there's nothing left to make.
Yeah.
But
And maybe even past that.
but at least that like that premise, like that almost gets to the root of like the original movie, right? And
God damn it, Hayden.
and that's what I love about it, is like the first movie is all about Woody getting replaced, right? And so this would be the same idea, and it's like, is it, how would, and like in my mind, I always remember being like, after Toy Story came out, I don't know how old we were, like I don't know, we were younger.
Toy Story was 95, so about 10.
Yeah, around there. And I remember thinking to myself as I was playing my toys, like, am I playing with all my toys enough? Because like in your head, you're just like, whatever. So like,
I literally had a conversation with someone at work the other day about, do you leave your Funko Pops in the box or not? And he's like, no, just in case of Toy Story.
well, there was the, what is it, Prospector
Stinky
Pete or whatever.
Stinky Pete.
He's in the box.
Hayden just said in the chat, Andy's mom debuts her toy with Deadpool and Wolverine. Pixar is getting bold. Fucking Hayden.
But no, I'm just gonna say, just because of the connection of like the vibe of Toy Story 1, it intrigues me. And again, the monkey's out of the crate now with 4. It kind of undid that perfect ending. So it's like, now that we were done, like, fine, let's just fucking let it go and just make these fucking movies like crazy, I guess. And now it'll just be a matter of judging each movie on its merits. And that at least sounds like where it's like a kid now can watch this, and now they'll be like, am I playing with my tablet too much, not my toy? I
Hopefully.
kind of flashback.
I will say, okay, so I have something to add to this news article. I saw this on a Instagram reel the other day. Someone was interviewing Tim Allen for something, and they said, hey, Toy Story 5. And he's like, yeah. They're like, what can you tell us? He's like, oh, nothing. He's like, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
He's like, but I have a really good idea. And they go, oh, what's your idea? And he goes, imagine if the toys have gotten scattered over the years, and Andy, who's now a father, has to go
Goes and
online and collects them, gets the whole gang back together, and for his kid. And so I'm just kind of like, with what you said about technology, I wonder if that's what Andy is going to do, is like, I got to find some way to get this kid off his tablet. Oh, I know. Buzz, Woody, Bo Peep, Rex, all those ones.
Yeah.
So,
not Mr. Potato Head, though.
Not Mr. Potato Head.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Good night, sweet prince.
Don Rickles. We still miss him.
We do.
So we'll see for sure. Hayden says, I do love my Funkos in the box, to be honest.
He leaves. He leaves
Oh,
them.
leaves. I always open mine. Looking around, I don't know if I have any in the box. I do.
We got some Star Wars right up there
I do have one that's up there. That's right.
Yeah.
That's the Vader with the chamber.
Yeah.
Like the Empire Strikes
Well, yeah,
Back.
if you open the box, he's going to suffocate. He's got his oxygen in there.
Well, no, I also am like, I don't know how well it's put together. To
Yeah.
where is it going to be as like neat and tidy when it's out
true.
of the box? So, next up, we got a really big one. To like in a way of like changing things up. Disney Plus is getting 4 exclusive Simpsons episodes next year.
Oh my God!
So that's never been done before. In an unprecedented
Really?
move, 4 episodes will be bypassing Fox's broadcasting and debuting straight to Disney Plus.
Oh.
This will include a 2-part Christmas episode. 2-part. I don't
Special?
know. Yeah, what do you call it when it's 2 episodes? 2 episodes. 2 episodes. Like,
Specials.
but it's like connected. It's
Yeah.
those ones are titled "Oh Come All Ye Faithful," and it'll hit Disney Plus on December 17th. Which very fittingly is the 35-year anniversary of the show's first episode, which was also a Christmas episode. So that's really cool. I'm really digging the idea on that. And the other 2 will be titled "The Fast and the Furious" and "Yellow Planet." So,
Hayden was hopeful. Christmas Tree of Horror.
oh man, yeah, let's do that. Why not?
Yeah.
I need to go through and just watch Treehouse of Horrors because I don't think I've watched
Yeah.
anything like. I think I remember peeking in at one because it was like Ned Flanders doing Dexter.
Yeah,
which
it's
is probably
it's the opening. It's where it looks like he's doing Dexter, but he's like garroting someone, but it turns out he's just tying the laundry.
yeah.
He's stabbing someone, but it's just a
That's-
shoehorn.
As I'll say, that feels like more modern, but that's probably 10 years ago now.
Dude, I'm gonna look it up when it was. Just for you.
But yeah, no, that's pretty big. As broadcast television continues to circle the drain to one extent or another. The next one, we're now moving over into the Marvel realm. The first one is quite exciting from D23. We have our first look at Fantastic Four, First Step. It is a set photo, and we've got at least one character in costume.
In costume, look at that.
Johnny Storm, dude. I fucking love that costume.
That's
dude.
like old school, isn't it?
It's so, yeah. So as part of the sizzle reel that they
Good
shared.
Lord, it was 2011.
Yeah, see, I told you.
Oh my God.
Told you. So they shared this, and it was basically a video of them sitting at the set here, and they kind of talked to the audience. I saw like a bootlegged part of it, but ultimately this image got out pretty well released. So of course the biggest thing here is Johnny Storm's suit, very pulpy and retro. Nobody else is in costume. I mean, maybe Pedro might be in costume.
I'm studying the photo. Keep going. I
don't know. Like maybe Pedro's in costume.
He
but,
could be.
But
We know.
certainly,
We know the thing's not.
Yeah, we know Ben Grimm is not
Because there's no origin story, is what they said, right?
Yes.
So he should already be the thing.
Yep.
I was looking in the background, right over Pedro's right shoulder, at that fridge.
Yeah.
Because we know this is going to be set in a 60s-ish
Yeah.
futuristic world.
Yeah. It's
So
like
I'm kind of looking at like the aesthetic here. You know what's giving me the vibes of is the Jetsons.
yeah, that's what it should. That's
Right? Exactly. That's what I was thinking of. Like the clock and then like that fridge thing
Yeah.
where it's like all glass on the front so you can see what's inside it.
Yeah.
And then even like the orange-ish red in the background. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
What do you think of the costume?
oh, it's amazing. It looks great.
I really love it. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Next up, we've got Channing Tatum saying that he would do evil things for a Gambit solo film.
We know he's going to be making a name for himself.
So Tatum was on the Tonight Show and said, quote, "I was at Fox first. I worked on it for like 6 years trying to get a standalone movie to happen. Then right on the 1 yard line, we were about to make the movie and Fox got bought out by Disney. I will say, I mean, well, Gambit's pretty mid anyway, but
oh, you stop
at
that.
least they didn't make a Fox movie of him, right?
It's true. If he gets a Disney movie, he'll keep being relevant.
But also, I'm just talking about quality. What
Yeah.
quality of movie would it have been
That's true.
in like 2019 Fox era?
Oof.
Yeah, the time they were doing like Dark Phoenix, and yeah,
Ugh.
so it's probably better that they didn't get it across the touchdown there.
Yeah.
Kevin, and then he says Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel, I love him so much. He was literally like, "Look, I love Gambit." Sorry,
Oh.
Feige. That hurts me a little bit that Feige likes.
Oh, suck it, Ted.
He says, I just don't know how we're going to do it right now. I don't know how he fits into what we're doing, so I need to have a minute to figure it out. And then that's the end of the Feige quote within the Channing Tatum quote. He says, now we've got some sort of a crack, a little bit of a now we got to sort of crack a little bit of a code. So that's kind of where they're at. But then he said, when asked if he'd still be willing to star in a Gambit solo movie, Tatum says, I would kill kittens to make one.
Good Lord.
He says, I do a lot of terrible things to make that happen.
Oh, PETA's not going to like him. I bet PETA's all over that.
I will say, we talked about this on Deadpool and Wolverine episode, and we talked about it after the movie. Neither of us necessarily overly loved Channing Tatum's like physicality, I guess.
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily fit the Gambit look.
Yeah.
But are you happy if they were to move forward with
Yeah.
him playing Gambit? Because I think
As already an established character.
and I think he nailed the role too.
And he
like
did.
The way he acted. I think it's just a matter of his face is a little bit broader than we would be
It
used
is.
to with Gambit.
But
so.
honestly, that's something I can get over. Again, that goes back to what I was saying earlier in the episode. You can love something but still have a little critique with it and everything.
Yeah.
I'm perfectly fine if Channing Tatum gets a solo Gambit movie.
Yeah.
And honestly, you know what I would do? Just give me a Gambit, not an origin story. Give me a Gambit. Oh shit! They got him out of the void. You know, they rescued him from the void.
Yeah.
And
Well,
everything.
there is something in the one of the TVA screens. You see someone back in their world, so it gives you the impression they all got broken
they all
out.
got put back. Exactly. And so I wouldn't be amiss, dude. Give me a fucking seedy underworld Daredevil season 1 kind of shit with Gambit, where he goes back to Louisiana and has to put his life back together.
Fight
shit.
gators.
I mean, sign me up.
Fights
Gators
gators
are ambush predators.
Or swamp people.
Swamp people. There you go.
The only
Well, no, I mean he's like what? Like there's like a cartel of thieves or something like that down there that he
Dude,
escaped to get to the
voodoo
X-Men.
black magic people.
Dude, exactly. Give me some of that shit in a Gambit standalone movie. Don't even tie it to like Secret Wars or Doomsday. Give us a breath of fresh air kind of thing.
Yeah.
In the middle of all of these Avengers 5 and 6, where it's just Gambit trying to put his fucking life back together after everyone else is wiped out, but he was put back because
yeah.
what he did with Blade and Elektra and Wolverine and Deadpool, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and X-23. Don't forget her.
And then Hayden says Disney has to pay the Universal for more Minion voice coaching, though. And that's what I was about to say. My only request
That's true.
is going to be we need subtitles for the movie. Otherwise, we're going to lose precious, exposition with Gambit there. And then Hayden says Tad's favorite critters. Yeah, I would. If you give me Minions, it would look like a Hostel movie. Also Mike points out what I got behind me, the movie I've got on display.
Yep.
I'm glad someone appreciates it. It's a great movie for sure.
I like that he says, I feel like I need to treat the backgrounds of Geekery Abides like a Marvel trailer. Gotta look at the details.
Yes, indeed. And then, then he said the kitten line, which, so he's willing to do it. It sounds like Feige was basically told him, like, hey, we just need to figure out how we're going to do this. I would also assume that was right after the purchase. So I would be curious now after Deadpool and Wolverine.
With how much love he's getting.
Does that mean that they've kind of figured it out and that's why they allowed him to be put into this movie? And that's just like the opening steps. Hayden also says Gambit versus Katrina.
There we go.
Well, we have had politicians talk about nuking
Hurricanes
to
Good
stop
Lord.
them. So,
Tad's version, House of 1,000 Minions.
oh, dude, seriously, I hate those things so much. They're the worst. Let's see. Going on to the next thing here. Speaking of horrible things and dark, sinister things that Hayden doesn't like, Agatha All Along is getting some comps that include some horror classics.
Excellent.
So we got Joe Locke. I believe we've seen him interviewed before. He plays kind of the almost groupie for the group of witches. He was interviewed and said the show references a lot of stuff, but Wizard of Oz is one of the most heavily referenced things. He then said that every episode has a different classic horror/thriller film that it is based itself on.
Ooh.
So it might be kind of like WandaVision, where you got different vibes for each episode. That sounds really cool. And then he also said, I got a direct quote. He says, quote, there are some great Exorcist references in there. Rosemary's Baby was one of them. There's so many. Also, The Goonies, that was one for me. And this is actually a quote we already kind of covered. There was one day that Jacques sent Kevin a picture of something, and he replied literally saying, "Oh my God, it's The Goonies." So this is one for so that for one was a big one for me. So that's what he said. And then we have Aubrey Plaza.
Yay, April.
Known goddess. She said, quote, "The Craft is one that I felt really tonally coming through. The movie gets hardcore scary, and what's cool, The Craft is about Agatha. Is really The Craft." Agatha, like The Craft, really rides the line. There are times when it's really funny and almost campy quality, but then there are times it just gets really dark and grounded and scary. So,
Dude, I cannot wait for this. Mike says the show sounds amazing. I hope they're all in on this concept and don't nerf it.
yeah.
I cannot wait for the show for one particular reason, is because I'm going to love the people who tried to boycott Harry Potter getting up in arms about the witches in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's going to be so much fun.
I thought about that when I was watching the trailers. Like, if you would have tried this in the 90s even.
No chance.
Like, you would have had, like,
No chance.
protests and
Oh,
all
yeah.
kinds of stuff.
Parent groups formed.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Tipper Gore and everyone. So then we have Catherine Hahn, star of the show. She says, there are some Nancy Myers in there. There is, as for witches, some of the friendships of Hocus Pocus, the deep, sweet friendships, also the terror of practical magic and stuff like Poltergeist or E.T. So I love that she loops E.T. in there with Poltergeist, because there's a whole generation of people who are terrified of E.T. Do you know that?
No, really?
Dude, seriously. And not just like the movie, but the creature. There's all kinds of people that are just terrified. My
Is
niece.
that why there's the joke in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where Holt's like, E.T., and they're like, E.T.'s not a monster movie, and he's like, he caused a commotion. Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
that's a monster to Holt.
Yeah.
Hayden says homeschoolers against Disney Plus.
And then he says, as much as I hate to admit it, Tad has corrupted me to the point of of enjoying certain horror movies, and Agatha looks bonkers good. Yeah, I'm pretty excited for this. This one.
One of us. One of us.
And then Mike says, Hayden, I'd hate to tell you, if you think you're 3 out of 10 corrupted, you're actually 8 out of 10. And you just don't know it.
No, that's how Tad gets you. That's how he gets you.
Yeah, and if you get to the level where I think you're a 3, yeah, you're probably closer to an 8 in my levels. So,
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Next up, we've got let's see, make sure I got the right slide. We've got Hugh Jackman's Wolverine future, allegedly. This is a rumor. So an industry insider claimed that Hugh will be returning for Wolverine in Secret Wars. Not a huge surprise. I think most of us probably even expect that at this point, right?
Yeah.
But then he said also Beyond.
Ooh.
So
Until he's 90.
so Hugh is allegedly, according to this insider, interested in more team-ups with Deadpool.
Oh, yes.
So
Deadpool and Wolverine 2 better happen. Like, just give me that.
I mean, with the kind of money it's doing, there's a good chance that
Yeah.
Disney will be like, you guys are doing this. Like, we own you now.
Absolutely.
So that's pretty cool, because I was like kind of thinking that the Hugh Jackman thing would be a closed-ended loop.
Yeah.
And, like do it here and then probably Secret Wars, because Secret Wars is Secret Wars. But then beyond that, who knows? They'll probably end up doing their own Wolverine or whatever. But this makes it sound like maybe Hugh is going to be doing it till he's 90.
Maybe he likes doing it with Ryan Reynolds, it sounds like, too.
Yeah, it sounds like he wants to do another Deadpool. So that's interesting.
I love that those two are best friends. It's like seriously, like, warms my heart.
Yeah. Next up, D'Onofrio, speaking of Daredevil, says that Daredevil Born Again is more violent than the original show.
What?
Yeah.
That show was brutal.
Yeah, think of the car door
Oh,
in
yeah.
episode 4.
Or the prison fight with Punisher. That hallway, like both hallways fights.
All hallways.
All hallway scenes.
But yeah, D'Onofrio said there are some things in this show that go much further than we did in the original Netflix show.
Ooh, boy.
Ew.
Ew.
Says ew. And then he goes one further. He says, there's one thing in particular that my character does that I can't believe made it into the cut.
I hope he rips someone's throat out with his teeth.
Ow. So, in the vast world of multiverses, I never thought we'd be in a place where we could even hope that we'd even approach the level of the Netflix shows.
I know.
Like, I thought, like, if Netflix shows are 10 on the scale, and I know that's not like a full 10, but a 10 in comic book realm, I
Yeah.
thought we'd be like dialed to like a 7, just in the Disney era, right?
Thank you, Deadpool.
I mean, maybe, but
partially.
but they've already had a good.
Not fully, but partially.
They had a good chunk of this film before, so I kind of wonder if Feige at some point had a conversation with like Bob Iger and shit, and just told him like, there's gonna be some of this stuff that's going beyond what you guys are probably comfortable with. So, because I mean, a lot of they had like what 5 or 6 episodes fully in the can before all that shenanigans happened. So it's like I would assume that there was a lot of brutal shit already. So, pretty wild, and I just can't imagine what this show is gonna be.
Hayden's going off the rail. Deep Disney Plus out violencing Netflix. The gauntlet has been thrown.
Oh man. And then next up we got make sure I got my right slide. And we got DeMeo fucks around and finds out this is the guy that was the lead writer and showrunner on X-Men 97.
Okay.
That was fired shortly before the season debuted.
Oh, right.
We covered that. So here's the thing. DeMeo was the lead writer, head showrunner for X-Men 97. He was fired weeks before the debut. There's been plenty of speculation as to why Marvel would fire him on the verge of the debut and right during the press tour, but nothing solid ever came out.
We were curious about it.
Yeah, we were curious. There's been some speculation, but there hasn't been anything official, which was always even strange to me because I'm like, usually if you're firing someone that quick, if it's like an abuse thing, like you report that.
You
like,
get ahead of it.
Well,
yeah.
you tell everyone because it's like, don't hire this guy, right?
Yeah.
You say it publicly, like, oh yeah, this guy raped. And I'm not saying that for him, but I'm saying if that was the case, like you
Right.
say, like, yeah, he sexually assaulted like a PA, like, because then like another studio might be like, okay, well, we're not gonna fucking hire him, right?
Yeah,
So it always
exactly.
just felt weird to me that it's like very fast firing makes you think something bad. But it's like, but then they're not saying anything, which makes you think it's not that bad. So it was just very mixed signals. For context, though, I also want to point out that he was fired from The Witcher show for being, quote, too difficult to work with, as well as being emotionally and physically abusive to subordinates. That's actually something that people picked up on and applied probably the same thing here. Well,
And that was back in Netflix a few years back.
yeah, a number of years ago. Well, I suspected at some point that DeMeo would lie and give some bullshit story as to how he's the victim by Disney, and then at that point Disney would let it fly with both barrels. That was just the suspicion I had.
Yeah.
Well, we are at that point.
That's what happened?
Just felt like right or wrong, they were keeping it quiet, and if he dared to try anything to paint them negatively, that it would just destroy him with their side of the story. And I mean, in the immediate wake of his firing, some people try to point to him having an OnlyFans, which he did have an OnlyFans, and people are like, oh, that's why Disney got upset. But it's like, they're not. No, that's not enough. And then Disney being prudes. Obviously, we're seeing Disney's not being very prudish across the board. Well, it happened. He posted on his social media with an animation of himself in his skimpy Cyclops outfit, animated. He posted it for Pride Month on his Instagram. He said he posted that on Instagram in June, and then on June 13th, he got a letter saying that he was being stripped of his credits for season 2 because of this post. That's his claim, which there's no way. That's just like, it wasn't like obscene or anything. It was just kind of like, okay, whatever. And then he also teased in his post that he would reveal more, but he needed some time to like collect himself or whatever. Well, I knew the second I saw that now that Disney's side would be coming very quickly, I guess within a day or two. And guess what?
Here it is.
Within a day or two, it came out. First, Marvel's official statement: Mr. DeMeo was terminated in March of 2024 following an internal investigation. Given the egregious nature of the findings, we severed ties with him immediately, and he is no longer affiliated with Marvel. So the wording there is
egregious.
Like, yeah, that's not good. Then shortly after the egregious findings were leaked to an industry insider, we actually cover this insider quite a bit. So I would assume this is Disney giving this leaker, here's some details, go ahead and leak this for us. The leak says that he was fired for sending photos of himself in various stages of undress to several young staff members.
Yeah.
Also, that most young males that work on the show have seen him nude, whether they wanted to or not. There was also allegations of groping an assistant, along with the fact that he emotionally and physically and emotionally abusive to the staff, which matches what Witcher
sounds familiar.
Said. So Marvel removed his executive producer credit from season 2, and they are reportedly going so far as to pay a new writer to rewrite the entirety of season 2 so that they can remove his name from the writer's credits.
Good.
Because unlike some credits, writing is actually very strict and actually is controlled by the WGA, the Writers Guild. So the only way to remove his name is literally, and to remove his name from the show as well as to not give him residuals, you'd have to rewrite it. Because if he wrote it, his credits will always be on. The WGA will not let him.
Yeah.
So they're basically allegedly paying someone millions of dollars to rewrite the entire season.
Good.
So,
appreciate that.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot of money to basically prove that, like, even with what's being leaked here, I wonder if there's more to it that we're not going to hear, that it was bad. So either way, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I hope a non-abusive person can replicate what DeMeo did with his team in season 1, because it was brilliant. So hope that we can get some good stuff out
Absolutely.
of it.
Hayden says, well, he's disgusting because Mayo is in his name.
Of course Hayden says
Hayden doesn't like Mayo, apparently.
especially mayo burgers.
Ah.
All right, next up.
Is that where you put the mayo inside the burger, so when you bite into it, just nice warm mayo in your mouth?
Mayo-filled burgers.
Mayo-filled burgers. Yeah, there you go. Because you got like the cheese-filled ones, right? You
Yes.
just do that with mayo, right?
I don't even like the cheese-filled ones.
No.
Those gross me out.
Yeah. Why did you say Tad? What did Tad do?
What the fuck did I do?
Yeah. Tad didn't say it. I did.
So the next up, rumor: 5 actors have allegedly been enlisted so far for Secret Wars.
I'm sorry, everyone who's listening and watching. Hayden is just. It's Hayden.
So
who are the 5?
5 actors, according to industry insiders, right
Rumors.
now that are rumored to be attached, and I guarantee you this is going to go beyond right because
Yeah.
I believe Secret Wars will end up being bigger than Endgame in terms of sheer
Yeah.
number of characters. But as of right now, allegedly, the insider reports that Tobey Maguire,
Okay.
Chris Evans,
Okay.
Nicolas Cage,
Okay.
Wesley Snipes, and Scarlett Johansson have all been signed
Oh.
to Secret Wars.
Nicolas Cage would obviously be Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider. Chris Evans would be
Cap.
Cap and
Johnny Storm?
Johnny Storm.
I don't know if we're going to get him as Johnny Storm again now that we have a new Fantastic Four. I think
in
that,
Secret Wars.
I don't.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I. Why would you go for that when you can have Cap?
I think you might see both. Imagine that scene where it's
They're
Johnny
talking to each other. They just do the Michael Myers head tilt at each other.
Yeah. So this is likely the tip of the iceberg. None of this seems necessarily crazy or surprising. This all feels right. I mean, we've heard rumors that ever since No Way Home, that all 3 of the Spider-Men would be in Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Chris Evans makes sense. I think we've even had rumors of that. Nicolas Cage is probably the most outside of the box because we haven't really seen Ghost Rider revisited, so that would be big.
Not since Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is not
Which they
canon
recasted.
anymore. Yeah,
And
they
they
recasted
recast.
it. And also, apparently there was rumors that Nick Cage was going to be Ghost Rider in Deadpool and Wolverine, though.
Yeah,
So-
there's a million rumors about who may have been. But yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did see a rumor that Jensen Ackles, the guy from Supernatural who played Soldier Boy, apparently is in talks to be cast as a new Ghost Rider. So
Yeah,
there's a lot of rumors
we
flying
we
around
covered
right
it on
now.
this show. There's an actor that was actually heavily like advocating for himself for the role. I don't remember
Yeah.
who that was, but next up we've got
Hayden says he heard that Robert Downey Jr. is going to be in it.
yes, indeed. I also believe that he might be playing an Iron Man in Secret Wars.
Oh, he probably will.
I think they will probably have that happen too. So next up is another rumor that Sydney Sweeney has allegedly been offered the role of Black Cat for Spider-Man 4.
No.
So
Black Cat.
yeah, that would be an interesting one. Spider-Man becomes friends with Black Cat in a world where he has no friends.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
No,
Oh, yeah.
No one
yeah.
remembers, so he's going to be a complete outsider, and like nobody, he's going to know no one. So maybe he, and also there's some romantic involvements with Black Cat at times. So since she was in that train wreck of Madam Web, this would be an awesome Marvel redemption on the scale of Chris Evans or Michael B. Jordan, as well.
Yeah.
Because she was apparently the lead in Madam Web. I don't even know.
Norman Reedus has expressed interest in playing Ghost Rider. is
That's
what I
who it
found.
was. Yes,
That's what I found on Internet Movie Database.
Yeah, he's been like actively, like constantly saying, like, I want to be Ghost Rider. I want to be Ghost Rider. And obviously he's pretty popular, so we'll see. Next up, we've got Robert Downey Jr. talking about the origins of him being cast as Dr. Doom.
All right.
This is pretty cool. Hayden also says, "Oh my God, make it happen" about Sydney Sweeney. I know he's
Yeah.
a big fan of her work.
Yeah.
So Robert Downey Jr. So he said, "quote probably a year ago because because Feige and I have kept in touch." It says we're pals. Favreau, Feige, and I have kept in touch. I'm also close with the Russo brothers. We have other businesses we're doing. So there's a little group of fellow travelers, and I have this instinct that I wanted to go to Bob Iger, and I had an idea outside of the cinematic universe for how I could be of a service to what's going on in the parks and all the location-based energy. Which,
Oh, cool.
I don't know what that means, and he says, and Susan and I were sitting down with Feige at one point, and he said, it just occurred to me that if you're going to come back, and Susan was like, wait, come back as what? And then we both realized over time it was another thing that just disproves any doubt anyone can ever have about the guy. He's a very sophisticated, creative thinker about how can we not go backwards? How can we not disappoint expectations? How can we continue to beat expectations? And he brought up Victor Von Doom. And I looked up the character and I was like, wow. And later on he goes, let's do Victor Von Doom right. So
All right.
that's what he says. And he says, so then I said to Kevin, can I go talk to Bob Iger? And he goes, about what? And he goes, about everything. And he says, and I go to Bob's house, which I don't know how to describe that experience. I've had a lot of really cool experiences. We go to Bob Iger's pad and we sit down and start talking. I just really want to be and then he stops and says, and he goes on and says, he goes, I like it. He goes, come on by the Imagineering campus. Feige and I go to the Imagineering campus. That's like the Disney thing.
Yeah.
He says you walk in or you want to talk about two guys not easily to have their minds blown, let alone at the same time. I can't say too much about it, but what was going on there right now is so beyond my expectations of what's possible. No wonder it was so numerous for me. So,
Oof.
and the Imagineers are the ones that came up with that. Have you seen that lightsaber that? Like they're doing that kind of shit. So it makes me wonder, like, what are they talking about there? But yeah, it like the Feige
Freaking goblins hover.
dude, seriously. But Feige saying, let's get Victor Von Doom right.
Yeah.
That that makes me happy.
It's Feige. All hell Kevin Feige.
Yeah,
Like,
indeed.
Right?
Indeed. But also Doom's not been done right.
No.
Like he just has not. They've not hit that yet. So can't wait to see what they have in store. And also, what does Disney have cooking? That's what I want to know. That's I feel like that's some real Tony Stark shit
That's
going
the
on there.
$10,000 question, isn't it?
Hayden, she's got massive talents. Oh man. And then Mike says, the most active I've seen Hayden. Are you drunk or high? He is in Vegas. So.
Oh, that's right. He is. He is probably drunk.
Oh, Godspeed, Hayden. Have one for me.
Yeah.
The next one, this is a rumor, but this is like a close-ended rumor because it's not a thing anymore. But originally, it sounds like the rumor is that allegedly Shang-Chi was one of the main characters of Kang Dynasty.
Oh.
He would have been one of the leads, which kind of
that doesn't mean that he's like.
Well, it's just that it's going to be a different movie now that it's Doomsday.
Yeah.
I still kind of wonder if they're going to elevate him and he might be one of the main Avengers in the new set. But basically, it kind of makes sense to me because originally the Shang-Chi director was signed to direct Kang Dynasty.
Yeah.
So it would have made sense if he directed Shang-Chi. He probably would have elevated Shang-Chi to being a big part of the movie. Also, it seems that Shang-Chi is getting a sequel as well. The main actor has confirmed that, but no word on whether that's going to be before or after all this Avengers stuff. So there is one in the works with all the Disney or all the Bob Iger killing everything, it seems like.
Yeah.
It's kind of in question about what is and is not getting a sequel at this point, but it does sound like Shang-Chi is still moving forward with getting a sequel, which is awesome. Because I really loved that movie a lot.
I did too.
Let's see. Next up, we've got a big one. James Spader is back as Ultron.
Oh, wow.
For the Vision series.
Excellent.
So that makes a lot of sense to me because Vision is
Yeah.
obviously quite tied to Ultron. Also, I don't know if this is going to be a flashback thing. There's been some speculation about that. But the thing is like Ultron, the thing with Ultron in the comics, no matter what you ever do, once he gets out into like the internet, like you telling me that one flash drive he could have got into right as someone unplugged it, so when they tried to go through and clean him out, he doesn't still exist somewhere. He's just
someone unplugging a flash drive and tossing it into a bucket and a box in the back of their closet, and then they're like, oh yeah, what's on this? There's Ultron.
There he is again. So it's just one of those things that it's always been easy to bring him back.
Yeah.
So I think that's really cool, but also James Spader as Ultron was such a fucking delight.
So good.
So I'm really excited about this.
I might need to watch Age of Ultron again. I haven't watched it for a hot minute.
I think the last time I watched it was right in the wake of Endgame and Infinity War, because I felt like some of the foreshadowing stuff would have been cool to rewatch after all the Civil War stuff and then those two movies.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, this movie's like increased in quality a ton because it's just like how cool is some of this stuff and like some of the setups, right? Where it's like, I don't trust someone that doesn't have a dark side. Maybe you just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
There's Civil War, right? Like
Hulk leaving in the Quinjet.
Yes,
everything
exactly.
like, oh, that's Ragnarok, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about this.
Ultron comes back on an AOL 1,000 free hours CD-ROM.
Well, yeah, I mean they do all kinds of crazy because it's one of those things like when it's something digital, it's never really gone, right?
Right.
Like there's going to be some copy of it somewhere.
They always say that same thing too. Oh, well, the killer deleted his hard drive. There's ways of accessing it. You know, like, uncover Ultron. Oh, shit.
Yeah, when I can go to Geek Squad and be like, oh, hey, my hard drive crashed. Can you pull everything off of it? And they can. If Geek Squad can handle it.
Ultron's got it somewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So next up, moving outside of the Marvel realm, the Master of Horror, James Wan, is allegedly, this isn't allegedly, this is announced. James Wan is developing a Creature from the Black Lagoon film.
Nice.
So that is, because I mean, Creature from the Black Lagoon, like, it's kind of one of those ones where it's like, is it really scary?
It's gonna be.
But James Wan, Yeah, it's gonna be fucking scary. So the rumor, it hasn't signed for it yet, but the rumor is he'll also probably direct the film as well. So won't just be producing. That's pretty awesome. It's explained that Wan is developing, quote, a grounded, modernized retelling that leans into the visceral horror while paying respects to the original classic. So I know Hayden loves that word, visceral. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
What's going on in the chat? What am I missing here?
Mike wants Hayden and Lydia to take over the show.
We'll fight them off. We'll never let them take our show.
You can take our lands and everything, but you can't take our freedom and our show.
Now, if we ever did an episode where we found like a place to get 4 people.
Now that would be interesting.
That could be interesting.
That could be interesting.
Hayden says, well, I'll be busy that debut night. Oh, I don't think so, Hayden. Next up, Devil by the White City is not dead. I don't know if you're familiar with this.
No, what's that?
This has been in development for a long time. This is a book that was written about H.H. Holmes and his murder motel at the World's Fair in Chicago in 1893. Are you familiar with this?
I know who H.H. Holmes is.
Yeah. So this has gone through a number of iterations. It was originally going to be a DiCaprio starred Scorsese film.
Oh, wait, this is a movie? I thought you said book.
It was a book.
It was a book getting made into a movie has had development hell.
It's been a long...
Okay, gotcha.
A long and winding road.
I'm on board.
So originally it was going to be a DiCaprio film, or a DiCaprio starred film that Martin Scorsese was going to direct, which...
Oh, boy.
How can you not love that? Then it was moved to being a Hulu thing with Keanu Reeves.
Okay.
But that recently just fell apart. But according to producer Stacey Shear, it is still alive. She told Deadline recently, quote, I'm still involved. I never give up. It's not imminent, but it's never far from my mind. Rick Yorn, Leo DiCaprio, Jen Davison, and Mr. Scorsese were all still involved.
Oh, my.
So, please let this happen. I mean, Scorsese's no spring chicken, but like, this sounds fun. Like,
sounds like a lot of fun.
Imagine just wandering that hotel in a movie, just with all those trap doors.
Hayden, aren't you at a hotel right now?
Hidden compartments and
just saying.
I'm anti-murder hotel.
I'm just saying, aren't you at a hotel right now?
Oh, it's so good. I don't know. Hope on that, but I will say it kind of feels to me kind of like The Irishman, where it took like 12 years for that to go from like, starting to talk to like getting the fucking movie released.
Yeah.
So who knows? But I'm excited that it's not a dead thing. Next up, this is a big one for me. 2 Halloween video games are in development.
I saw this one. I literally took notes, and I was like, if Tad doesn't report this in the news, I'm going to.
I mean,
very proud, very proud, very proud.
Suck it to my veins!
Yep.
So by the team who did Evil Dead, the game,
Yep.
which was pretty well received. Also, John Carpenter is intimately involved.
Uh-huh.
And what I love about that is because I just talked about this with somebody at work recently where I was just like, John Carpenter's such a G that like when people ask him like, why are you like doing film still? He's like, too lazy. I'd rather just watch basketball and play video games.
Yep.
And I'm like, I love that.
Yeah.
Like, that's just, he's such a fucking gangster. And also, what does he have left to prove?
Yeah.
He's one of the greatest directors of our time, if not
Made
all time.
so many good movies.
But like the fact that basketball and video games, because he is a very big gamer.
He is
so
a huge gamer.
For him to be involved, the original guy that created Michael Myers, that is a gamer, master of horror, God, this excites me.
Did you read the article?
I read a bit, yeah.
There's a direct quote from Carpenter in it that says, quote, as a huge gamer myself, I'm thrilled to help bring Michael Myers to life again in this game, and my hope is to scare you silly.
Oh, yeah, I do
End
actually
quote.
have, I have that
yeah.
quote. That's a good one, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, sign me up. I really wonder, especially since there's 2 games.
Yeah, I wonder what the 2 games is. Then IGN is reporting that the upcoming Halloween video game will allow players to, quote, relive moments from the film and play the classic characters from one of the most iconic and important horror movies of all time. So, that sounds fun.
Hayden says the Halloween game will be so fucked that when you turn off the console, you'll see Myers in the reflection of your TV.
I hope so. That would be awesome.
You would just want to hug him.
Oh, I would.
Yeah.
I'd gladly get killed by Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I'd see it as an honor. And hopefully I get a good death that's really gory and violent. That'd be my hope. Not just stab. Like you gotta get
spike to the head.
Gotta get something over the top. Hayden says no.
Harvester Combine.
A combine, yeah, some sort of large machinery. That would
Shotgun?
be good. That'd be good, yeah. The wall spike is
wall
pretty
spike,
good.
wall
Yeah,
spike,
it's pretty
yeah,
good. Impaled with the double barrel shotgun. There's all kinds of good stuff.
Yeah, lots of good.
Speaking of things that Hayden doesn't like, apparently Poltergeist is being developed as a series for Amazon.
Oh my. Yeah, Myers just kills Tad with a pile of DVDs.
That would be fitting.
It would be.
That seems like something more that Ghostface would do, though. Like
That's true.
Top of my shelf onto me.
Yes.
Yeah, but not a lot to say on this other than they're developing a Poltergeist series
Let's do
at
it.
Amazon. So
No. Lots of those.
I just hope that clown is involved.
I hope so.
That long, gangly clown with the
Yeah.
long legs and arms. And then last up in the news before we get over to the main topic, Nicolas Cage is set to play John Madden in a biopic.
Yeah.
My first thought was like, there's no way that's real.
It's real.
But then I clicked on it and read it, and the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what?
Yeah.
That actually works. Like,
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage, like, I mean, if Gary Oldman can play Winston Churchill, then, like, no physical thing's going to change things.
Right.
It really just comes down to, like, embodying that Madden
Mm-hmm.
element, and who can do that better than Nick Cage?
Absolutely.
So the director said Nicolas Cage is one of the greatest and most original actors. Will portray the best of the American spirit of originality, fun, and determination, in which anything is possible. As beloved national legend John Madden. He says, together with the ferocious style, focus, and inspired individualism of Al Davis, owner of the underdog Oakland Raiders, the feature will be about the joy, humility, and genius that was John Madden in the wildly inventive, cool world of the 1970s.
Yeah.
So,
Mike says Nick Cage thinks he's going to get some of that Madden 26 money, video game money.
dude, I couldn't imagine what that game.
I
is
just want to
ranked
hear
in over
Nick
the years.
Cage's version of the Brett Favre comes in a hole here and the boom.
Well, if they're doing the 70s, they're not doing.
Oh, then it's not the
yeah,
commentary
it's
Madden.
going to be Coach Madden.
Coach Madden.
Yeah.
I did
So-
hear that he was an upstanding human being the other
Oh
day.
yeah.
Like,
He's a great dude. Also interesting, like he wouldn't fly. Like
Nope.
everything he did
He
was
had
on
the bus.
buses. Yeah, because
Yep.
he was afraid of flying. So, Hayden, wow, what a shift!
Yeah.
Going from Poltergeist to Nick Cage. But I mean, Longlegs is really good, right, Hayden?
Oh, I still need to see that. It's out on digital now.
It's
I saw.
coming out digital.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, that is the main that is the news section. So let's go on over to the main topic. I've got a little sound.
And we just got copywritten.
Yeah, probably. Hayden's in there saying, "God damn it, Tab." Oh, dude, that movie was fucking nuts.
Yeah.
Long legs, like it was just.
Yeah?
It was. It was and Hayden reacting the whole time. Oh, it was. It was.
I wanna
good.
see it.
It was good fun.
I want to see it.
Yeah. See, and the other one I wanted to cover was the monkey. 'Cause
Ooh.
we got the monkey coming, but that's a Stephen King thing. So
is.
can't cover that till the next. Well, actually, we already covered the monkey a little bit, didn't we?
We sure did.
So that'll be fun. Nothing like a good symbol monkey, and hopefully that means that like Nika or someone will actually make a new version of the symbol monkey, and I won't have to fucking import one from Japan to get one.
That fell through, didn't it?
Yeah, it's tough to
Yeah.
to get something shipped over from Japan. It's not an easy task.
Nope.
Yeah, so Hayden says the Game of Thrones theme is pretty iconic and good, and I agree. And actually, it's the first thing I wanted to mention right off the bat. What's your thoughts on it? Just using the theme from the first show.
So the first episode didn't have it.
That's true because they were just
It
kind
threw
of.
me off so bad. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
I forgot about that. Yeah, until you just said that, but that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah, it didn't. But then when it got to the second episode, I remember thinking
I'm like, "Oh, there it is."
I'm
okay.
like, what is it? Ramin Djawadi is a brilliant fucking score dude, like composer. Like the scores he did for these, I still will I have a playlist of all the Game of Thrones things. I'll just listen through it because it's just so good across the board. So in my mind, I was like, as going to the show, and the first episode didn't have it, the second episode finally did, and I was just like, how's he going to top himself?
Yeah.
But then there was a part of my mind where I'm like, do you just use the same thing though? Because it's kind of
Yeah.
like James Bond, where you have like the James Bond theme or the Michael Myers
I
theme.
mean,
like
it's the same universe. It's just what happened 172 years
it's a
ago.
different story, but it's the same universe. So it's like
Yeah.
I could see it both ways. So when it hit, I was just like, I don't know. It was. So
Okay.
did you dig it?
I mean,
using the
it's the Game of Thrones theme. I love the Game of Thrones theme, but it was skip intro every time.
really?
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
I lied. The first episode I watched the entire intro. The second episode I watched the entire intro to see like the castle moving and the blood flowing.
And it actually
everything.
changes
Oh, does it?
throughout the show. And
Like Game of Thrones does?
the problem is that a lot of it's like the bloodlines and stuff, and there's like different elements that'll come in. The problem is I don't think I ever notice any of them because I'm not a book reader.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of this shit that like is meaningful to a book reader meant nothing to me. But I listen to podcasts
Okay.
or whatever, they geeked out every time where it's like every, opening credit thing was like, it kind of told you like or it included thing kind of like Game of Thrones did with the map, right?
Yeah.
It showed you the locations you'd be in that
Oh,
episode. So.
Winterfell has the flayed man over it instead of the wolf.
Yeah, it had
you
the
know.
different icons.
Oh,
and
the
stuff,
wolf's
so.
back. The flayed man's gone.
Yeah. And Mike, I'm glad they stopped going full throttle on the incest.
Yup.
So much incest. But yeah, and Hayden's the great point about opening theme. Would the Star Wars fanfare theme be used in future saga films? And I think that's the element. And I've even been arguing that recently with Superman fans because everyone's debating on the James Gunn thing, where it's
Yeah.
like, what do you do with it? My position has always been you've got to use the John Williams main theme. It's kind of like Michael Myers or James Bond. You then bring a composer on, he could do the rest of the score, but the main
It's
centerpiece
Superman.
is that Superman theme.
Yeah.
Let him like compose it however he wants. It's the same theme, but it's like use different instrumentations and like Halloween. How many different versions of the Halloween theme have
Oh,
you heard
yeah.
over the years?
But it's still the same. Da 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 da
Yeah.
da da
but
da.
but then throughout the rest of the film, let the composer go nuts and do whatever the fuck he wants.
Right.
I really still hope that James Gunn does that because I've.
Or you know what James Gunn could do is just, oh hey, John Williams, how you doing, bud?
I mean, why would he? I don't think John would.
Why not?
Because he would be like, I've done it, like, and I'm never going to be able to do it better than that. I mean,
You don't know that.
also-
he could do better.
I don't know, man.
I mean, Empire Strikes Back score is better than A New Hope, correct?
but he never topped the Star Wars theme, though. That's
You're saying Empire Strikes Back doesn't have anything better than the Star Wars theme?
the main
The
theme.
Imperial March is not better than
The main theme of Star Wars?
Oh,
the
Tad.
only way that people, because I've said that before, but then I've always thought about it. And I'm like, the only reason I say that is because I'm underrating the opening theme and I'm not giving it the credit it deserves. But
I mean, don't get me wrong.
I-
The opening theme is my favorite Star Wars thing of all time.
I've always
So.
said that outside of the original creators of Superman, the greatest addition of Superman that they didn't create is the John Williams theme. So, so I guess I agree with it with Game of Thrones. I just wanted to mention it because, like,
Yeah.
I remember it being a thing for me in the first season. I'm like, what's it going to be? It's so
Yeah.
weird. But it turned out to kind of be the same thing. So, of course, getting into John Williams Star Wars stuff, that would be a whole episode, which
It would be.
is not a bad episode. So what's your relationship with Game of Thrones?
So I started watching Game of Thrones in the third season. I think actually what technically happened is that my wife and I started watching Game of Thrones, and we caught up right before season 4 aired.
Okay.
So seasons 1, 2, and 3 were streamed. This is back on the old HBO Now, HBO Go, one of those
Yeah.
fucking apps,
It-
whatever they called it
It
before.
was it was basically the same app, but one was for if you had an HBO subscription, you got that one, and the other one was if you subscribed to just the
just that,
But it's the same
which
fucking
which
thing.
is Max now.
Yeah.
is that.
yeah.
So and then we watched every single episode basically religiously until season 8.
The finale, yeah,
Season 8, yeah,
yeah.
the finale and everything.
But you're not a reader, and I say that.
I have the same stance as Tad. I am not going to burden myself with reading 3-4 books,
Whatever it is,
without a finish.
yeah. With what has
When
been
he
11
finished-
or 12 years.
When he finishes the book series and it's done, I'll pick it up and I'll probably read it.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. So I'm hoping that he can actually finish them. Because again, he's no spring chicken. So
Hayden, you should come on and do the Williams episode with Tad instead of me because I am stupid when it comes to composer music.
No, it wouldn't even. Honestly, what it could even just be is like, imagine top 10 Star Wars musical things.
Tad, I couldn't name you 10.
Oh yes, you could.
No, I couldn't.
Yes, you could.
No, I couldn't.
Yes, you could.
No.
Once you actually, all you'd have to do is go through and look at the soundtrack. And you'd be like, "Oh my god, yeah, I didn't think about that." Or,
No,
oh my,
that's what I'm saying. It's like if I went through and look, of course I could name 10.
Yeah.
Off my memory, I could not name
Well,
10.
for an episode, you wouldn't be going off your memory. You'd
I'm
be
just
doing
saying.
you'd be doing some prep. So, all right. So, in terms of this, you're new to House of the Dragon, though.
I am
so-
new. I did not watch season 1, so I started watching literally when season 2 finished. Like you said, episode 8,
I think it's
8 or 9.
It was short.
It was 8.
Yeah, it was 8. Yeah.
8 in season 2. You're like, yeah, the finale's tonight. Literally when we were sitting here at Geekery Abides, and then it wasn't. It was that next weekend that I was like, yeah, why not? And I put it on. I'm like, I'm going to give it a couple episodes.
Yeah.
It's not Game of Thrones. Am I going to really care? Dude, first scene. First scene hooked me.
Yeah. That's good to know, because that's kind of what I was going to ask, is just because I do feel this is a little bit more interview. I'm certainly going to have my say on some stuff too.
Yeah.
But it's like you're much fresher on it.
Yes.
So I'm certainly going to. I don't know. I want to get your thoughts.
Okay.
Because I loved Game of Thrones. Yes, the ending kind of whatever. But I've long been a defender of Benioff and Weiss. I think that the tail end of Game of Thrones is more about George R.R. Martin than it is them, because I think those two dudes are brilliant adapters. Mm-hmm. But they ran out of runway. When they started the show, they're like, oh, well, of course he's going to write the rest of the books before we get to the end of the line. And they didn't, so they ended up getting to a spot where they're like, what are we going to do? And George R. R. Martin's like, well, here's my outline. Here's some bullet points of things that will happen. But it's like adapting from a fucking massive 800-page book to get a season of television versus like you're going to have to build a whole couple seasons on a fucking outline. Like, that's a different craft. That's a different art.
It's why a lot of people say like seasons 7 and 8 are missing substance.
Yeah. Because
they're like, where's the depth? Where's the meat? Where's the and all that? Because they didn't have that. They had an outline
rather than going into a forest and it's like, hey, you got to build like a hut out of shrubbery,
a shelter,
and it's like, you got a whole forest. Go ahead. It's like, cool. How easy is that? But now when it's like, hey, you got to do the same thing, but there's
in the sagebrush desert of western Utah,
or there's one tree over there you could use.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, but you can't also destroy the entire tree. Like, it's a different game, and I just think everyone's shitting on them it bums me out, because when you look at the rest of the show that was so fucking brilliant, I mean, it's one of the biggest cultural icons of the last 20 years.
Yeah,
like that was them. Like,
it's right up there with like Breaking Bad and The Sopranos, of things that like people watched every episode.
Yeah.
Like they had watch parties.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And I remember there was like things online where people were there were bars that were showing Game of Thrones on Sunday nights, and they'd have whole 100, 200 people come in, eat, drink, and watch the fucking show together. I remember saying toward the end, I'm like, why aren't movie theaters hitting this up and just being like, come buy a ticket for $12 and
they
watch
did
the fucking...
for one show. I can't remember what it was, but they did a season finale for one show. And I'm like, that's fucking brilliant.
Yeah, because the shared experience is brilliant.
Yeah.
So
Hayden says that's like asking a contractor to finish a building without the full blueprint.
Exactly. And it's like, instead you're
that's
just going
great analogy.
You're going to do a napkin sketch, and like, well, you've done the first 2 floors. Well, the last floor, here's a napkin sketch. Go ahead and build that for me, would you?
Yeah, don't forget the basement too. Do you have a sketch for that? Nah, wing it.
Yeah. So for me, I've been a fan. I jumped into Game of Thrones late, but I was on the House of the Dragon from the get-go.
Yeah.
I remember being like apprehensive when they were like developing it and stuff, where I'm just like, I
remember on this show. Sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, because I remember just being like, I was burnt a bit by the end.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, what it came down to is there was some, not Benioff and Weiss, but there were some people who were involved in the original Game of Thrones show that were involved in this, but not Benioff and Weiss. So it's like a whole different set of people, but experienced people.
Mm-hmm.
And right close to the time that it debuted, I don't even think I had made a decision, but like the weekend it was getting ready to air, it hit me where I'm like, I'm watching this fucking show, dude.
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been here since day one, and I've enjoyed the fuck out of it. So, but what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Shit.
So overall, just give me an overview of like, what did you think of the first season, especially because, and I remember warning you about this, Game of Thrones was pretty linear, and there wasn't massive time jumps. In fact, that was actually something the show ran into, because like in the books, the kids were younger, and so like there's massive year jumps and stuff because you need to get Arya and Sansa older, and the show struggled at times because they're like, well, we can't jump time. Like, how are we going to do this?
Yeah.
So there was always this struggle for them to deal with, like, especially the kids and Bran too, I think. So with this one, they just decided up front that they were going to basically have a massive time jump, and you would have I wouldn't say a full 2 sets of casts, because a lot of the cast was the same, but at least the 2 lead actors, you had separate people. You had young Alicent and Rhaenyra, and you had adult Alicent
Yeah.
Rhaenyra. So what did you think of that being because that's such a radical change from what Game of Thrones did? I'm curious how that I know I warned you, but I'm curious how did that jive with you?
Well, it didn't catch me off guard because you did warn me. What caught me off guard is that there's multiple time jumps in the first season.
Yeah.
Like I was telling my wife about this because I talked to her about the show. She doesn't have any desire to watch it, so unfortunately I'm watching it alone, which is great that I have this episode to talk about it. But I was telling her about it, and I'm like, yeah, Tad told me that there was a time jump where they changed actors, but he didn't tell me that there's 6 time jumps in the first season.
Yeah, because essentially what it came down to is now you've seen the first season is it's like most of the story takes place after Luke dies.
Yeah.
You know, but it's like really what the showrunners thought though is they're like, there's really no good way for us to tell this story without truly setting the stage for Alicent and Rhaenyra.
Right.
So we need to show these people as kids. It's kind of the Anakin Skywalker episode 1
Right.
thing. It's like Lucas is like, I don't want people to think he was this kid that was torturing fucking womp rats and he was a serial killer from day one.
Yeah.
Like, I wanted to show he was a
human.
He was a good kid and stuff. So I think it was the same idea as like you really wanted to build their relationship. And I honestly, now in retrospect, watching the full first 2 seasons, I can totally see where it's like, yeah, you could not have done this with like an episode of those two younger and then or even flashback scenes.
No.
Like you couldn't have. You needed
it wouldn't have done it justice.
No.
So it was done correctly.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was done well enough that it like also set the stage for future plot points.
Yeah.
Like you get the whole I always forget his Damon, the uncle.
Damon.
Damon,
the Doctor Who guy.
Yeah, Doctor Who Smith, right? Is his name?
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
It's like the most basic name.
Dude, Matt Smith.
Matt Smith.
Yeah. I mean, he might as well be John Smith.
That's what I was going to say. John Smith's about the only way you can get more. And
Yeah.
I love that man, too.
He's great.
He's a wonderful actor in almost everything I've seen him in. So,
But seeing like the tension with like him and Rhaenyra
yeah.
early on, and then even like him and his brother
Yeah.
have a conversation about him and Damon and Rhaenyra being married, and it's like, no, that's a vile and everything, and it ends up happening. Like, they planted those seeds, they built that and everything early on, and everything. It was so good.
Yeah.
So the time jumps didn't catch me off guard. It just caught me off guard that it kept happening.
Yeah. And
so it's not necessarily like a bad thing.
Yeah, and I didn't warn you about multiple. I think I just mostly warned you because it's ultimately it's the cast change.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we talked about that a lot on the other show with Dark Tower. Is like when they were developing the show for Amazon, they were going to start with the 4th book, which is a flashback. And I remember saying like, well, how the fuck are you going to do that? You can't recast your lead when you jump to the next season and it's book 1. Like you just can't do that.
Yeah.
And then a few years later, here's Amazon or HBO going, want to bet? We can change leads mid-season.
Let me show you how to fucking do it.
And
hold my wine.
And I'll admit they did it. And
I will say that first episode with the new Rhaenyra caught me off guard. Alicent, I couldn't tell.
Yeah.
That's 2 different actresses? I literally just learned that just now.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I honestly thought it was the same chick. They just they either de-aged her or they aged her up. It was one of the 2.
Yeah.
I honestly did not know that was 2 different actresses.
Yeah.
But Rhaenyra, it's kind of obvious. Like
Yeah.
different facial structure a little bit and everything like that.
Yeah.
But
I love the younger one.
Oh yeah, she was
I think
fantastic.
it's Millie Alcock is her name. Like she
Yeah.
did so good that like, and the adult version she did wonderful too. But I
Yes.
remember when the change first happened, I was really mad because I'm like, Millie was so good. I'm like,
So
I'm
good.
like you can't. How are you going to top that? And then fast forward, and like she ended up doing a wonderful
You're like,
job.
oh, okay, we're
but
good.
But it was just like again, that was kind of what I wondered about with Dark Tower. Is like, how can you, if people, especially people, really get attached to your character?
Yeah.
How do you fucking change your actor? Like,
Yeah.
that's a hard thing to do, man.
It's been done before, and
Yeah.
it was done well in House of the Dragon. So I think
Yeah.
I think it can be done and everything. But yeah, I that first scene with the new Rhaenyra giving birth and everything like that.
Yeah.
I was like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Like, are we flashing back to the Queen giving birth again? Because that's kind of who it looks like. Is
Yeah.
like the very first episode,
Yeah.
the Queen giving birth and dying and everything like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
wait, no. And then the husband walked in from High Tide, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wait, isn't he married to Rhaenyra? Who's this then?
I think
And then I'm like,
they did a name drop.
And then they did a name drop, and
Yeah.
it's like Princess Rhaenyra, and I'm like, oh fuck, like,
Yeah.
oh.
I
Well,
remember.
no. That's how I figured it out. I have subtitles on, so I watch with subtitles, and it's like Rhaenyra grunts in pain or something. Like Rhaenyra groans, and I'm like, oh, that's Rhaenyra.
Yeah.
So that's how I got it.
Yeah, she did a wonderful job for sure. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just an interesting thing to change midway through there.
Yeah.
So I know this is more of a global question, but Team Green or Team Black?
Okay. Green is Rhaenyra.
The Hightowers. That's Alicent.
No, that's Alicent. Okay.
Yeah.
Team Black.
Team Black.
Are you surprised?
No, but the thing I wondered about though is like who are you going to cling to, because there's really no like truly good characters.
No, I have 3 notes written down about this show, and that's number 1.
'Cause I don't know. I think we've talked about it on this show before, but you really struggle when you don't have like that.
Nightcrawler. That movie fucked me with Ryan Gosling.
No, Donnie Darko.
Jason Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah.
Yeah, that movie fucked me up because there is no good person in that entire movie.
Well, it is the paparazzis.
Exactly.
That makes sense.
Who am I supposed to root for, kind of thing. But
Yeah, you're heavily a rooting kind of guy.
I am, and kind of it got to the point where I'm just kind of like rooting for. I think midway through the first season, I hated Rhaenyra, and I was siding with Alicent, kind of along the way, because she's just doing what her king wants.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everyone's supposed to do? Is do what the fucking king wants, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everything. But in season 2, end of season 1, beginning of season 2, I started. Well, hold up.
Yeah. Well,
Hold up.
because then Allison starts sleeping with Kristen Cole, so it's like all of her self-righteous, like
All that fucking judgmental shit that she
Yeah.
threw at Rhaenyra and
Yeah,
everything
she
like
ends
that. Dirty fucking hypocrite.
I knew you wouldn't like her because of that. I knew that.
And then also like trying to take the throne from Rhaenyra on a dying breath declaration.
And I don't blame Alicent for that, because I think I can see where she gets the confusion. The rest of the people around her that were already plotting to coup the throne don't like them. But for Alicent, I kind of give her a little bit of a break, because like from her perspective,
he said it.
let's,
Aemon.
Yeah, let's quit naming all of our fucking kids Aemon, for Christ's sake.
That's
Or Aegon.
Aegon.
Aegon. Yeah,
Aegon. Like, seriously, that's the thing that gets me so fucking worked up, is how fucking stupid is this king that you know that your daughter is going to take the throne. You want her to take the throne.
Yeah.
You've been saying it for 20 fucking years you want her to take the throne.
Yeah.
You know?
But
Don't name your fucking son after a prophecy.
and they keep doing that. Like if
God
one,
damn
one
it.
thing to remember, Jon Snow's real name is Aegon as well.
Yes. Isn't the Mad King's name Aegon?
That's a good question. I don't remember. Or no, Ares. No, Ares? I don't remember. All these goddamn crazy names.
Ares Targaryen. Yep,
Yeah,
you're
Ares.
right, Ted.
Okay.
Hey, good job.
I always remember that because the Greek god of war is Ares. So that makes sense to me. I will say I'm with you. I'm Team Black all the way. But I will say the second season challenged me because I feel like the Team Green was way more compelling television. I felt like I was more entertained by Team Green side than I was Team Black. Season 2, Team Black started to get a little bit like stale to me a little bit. Where I'm like, give me more here. What's going on? And
I
Team
know.
Green, like, every scene was like, fuck, what's going to happen here?
I know.
Like,
It was like on the edge of your seat for Team Green with everything they were doing. And Team Black was just kind of like sit and wait and everything.
yeah.
We got a new watcher here named Vlad. So welcome. Glad to have you.
Awesome, yeah.
That's Tad. I'm Peter.
Oh, it's on the screen too.
Oh.
I did name tags.
I forgot about that on this show.
Yeah.
Nice.
We have it on the other show too.
You know what, Ted? I'm going to need you to stop making me look like shit. All right?
Oh.
Thank you very much.
And you're the one that looks at the screen more than I do, because like you actually,
True.
because you're viewing it like a viewer would
I am.
on your screen. So
I'm not signed into the main account. Ted doesn't trust me for some reason.
But that's one of those things though that they do reuse names quite a bit.
I hate it. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a fucking misunderstanding.
Yeah, it is.
It's that common thing that happens in movies and TV shows.
From her perspective.
If you just, no, for everyone,
Yeah.
just sit down and talk it
Well, and
out.
he was also drugged out of his mind, and he was on his way out.
That was the other thing that
he
really,
thought he was talking to Rhaenyra.
that was
so-
the other thing that really pissed me off is like, it's like, oh, yeah, you're going to take a dying declaration of a man who's basically on fucking morphine.
Yeah.
And be like, oh, yeah, his word is law. It's like, was he in sound mind?
Yeah.
Was he of sound mind when he made that declaration? Like, really, Allison?
Yeah.
Really? You're going to do that? Because, like, I think that I truly believe that the person who's most responsible for all the shit that happens is her dad.
Otto.
is Otto. I fucking hate that guy. Conniving little finger motherfucker. They took Littlefinger and they split him into two characters.
Yeah, that's for sure.
They got Otto and then they got the clubfoot guy.
What is his? I got it written down here somewhere because I knew I'd forget some of these names. Laris Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's the thing with Otto for me. I hated him because he was the conniver. He was kind of the one behind it. He was essentially behind the coup, irregardless of what was said in the fucking dying chamber, right?
Yeah.
So like
he was gonna do it no matter what happened.
Yeah, and he also like snaked his way
back
and like whatever. But I will say that last scene when he gets fired by his grandson and he just fucking dresses him down.
Yeah.
He may have turned me on him. Where I'm like, maybe I don't hate Otto as much because he was just like, oh. The king picked me. Oh, is that what you think?
Yeah.
He just like completely fucking destroys him.
I know.
I love it so much. Also, I have to point out how hilarious it is because that is the same room that the Viserys fired him.
Oh.
So it's like maybe he just avoid that room as Hand of the King. Like, don't go into that room anymore.
Just don't ever go in that room, especially with the king.
Yeah.
Like, just avoid that, dude.
Yeah.
I will say that Otto and what was the clubfoot guy's name?
I think it's Laris Strong. Let me look it up.
It is Strong. I know that because his family got murdered.
Yeah, because he's part of the Strong family. I think it's Laris.
Laris.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
Now, I will say, and I'm an unabashed Littlefinger fan.
I know.
I love Laris, dude.
Of course
he's such a. But also, didn't he become more like relatable as especially the second season panned out? Because that's what I found weird. Is I was like, they're almost like unlittlefingering him a bit because it's like.
I still can't get behind him having the whole foot fetish thing. That just kind of.
Hey, don't kink shame, sir.
I'm not going to kink shame and everything like that, but the queen should not be doing that. Like, come on, man. Like that. Ugh.
There's a lot more that she end up doing. So,
but I will say they are not my most hated character.
Okay, so that's what I'm going to get to here is favorite character. Across the board.
Honestly, my favorite character is I fucking love Rhaenyra.
Okay.
There's been times where I'm like, what the fuck are you doing, girl?
Yeah.
Like lady, come on.
Yeah.
You know, like when she's a young girl, like what are you doing? But her flying into Blackstone and confronting her uncle was one of the coolest things.
To Harrenhal at the end of end of season 2, you talking?
No. No, when she's younger and she flies into Blackstone and takes her fucking brother's egg back.
I'm sorry.
She's like, you're in my castle, bitch. You know, like, get the fuck out. Dragonstone, that's what it is. That's where Baratheon held up.
Yeah.
With his witch, right?
Yeah.
And then the brother.
Yeah, and then Daenerys ends up there.
Yeah.
At the tail end of the series.
Yeah.
She's on Dragonstone.
Yeah. So she shows up to Dragonstone on her fucking because he's talking down to Otto, which of course I fucking love. It's like, fuck you, Otto. Piece of shit.
But the actor did so good as Otto.
That's the great. Okay, so that's the thing with Game of Thrones. You have to understand. When I say fuck you, Otto, and I hate this guy, I am not one of those people who thinks the actor is a piece of shit.
Yeah.
I love the actor who played Joffrey. I think he's one of the greatest things that's happened to Hollywood. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But yeah, I'm not one of those people who can differentiate between actor and a character.
Yeah.
I think it means that they're a great actor if they made me hate them that much.
Yeah.
But yeah, she flies into Dragonstone. It's Dragonstone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Blackstone is what's in my head, so that's the wrong one. She flies into Dragon because he's like, I got a dragon. Like, what are you going to do, bitch? And she flies in on her dragon. She's like, that's my brother's egg, bitch. And just like, give it back. Okay, you want to kill me? I'm right fucking here. Let's go.
Yeah.
And just like, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, I know it might be a little bit of a cheat, but it's Viserys. The original. I love him, dude. He was bothersome at first because he's kind of like weak-willed.
Yeah.
Like, there's times I supported Daemon or I'm like, he needs to step up a little bit more.
Yeah.
But overall, he ended up just being an absolute fucking wonderful character.
He's a good king, too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what we don't get a lot of the time, especially in Game of Thrones, let's be honest.
Yeah.
We don't get good people living for so long.
Yeah.
Like, dude, the first couple episodes where we see him, like, getting nixed from the chair, I'm like, someone's fucking poisoning him.
Yeah.
I'm like, someone's going to assassinate him or something.
Yeah.
Like, this is going to come to a head really fast.
Yeah.
And then he lives to be like
Keeps living.
150 years
Yeah.
old. Like, what the fuck?
And there's a few
man?
times where it feels like it was shot where it was like, okay, this is his last scene and this is his death scene. And then it's like fast forward 6 years and he walks into the room and
He's all mangled and got a cane and everything. He's being carried in the next time.
that march in, though.
Oh, yeah.
One
when
of the
it-
greatest scenes of the
Yeah.
show up to this point for
with
me.
with the question on who's going to be the heir to High Tide.
Yeah.
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 And that dude, that guy got everything that he deserved.
Yeah. And then like the moment where Damon helps him.
Yeah.
And picks the crown up for him and
Yep.
stuff. Like, just because, again, Damon was so, on both Rhaenyra and Viserys,
Mm-hmm.
Damon is like back and forth. There's
Dude,
times that he's
flip,
like.
flip a coin.
the-
You don't know which Damon you're getting this episode.
Yeah, there's times where he's like their best ally, and there's like when he beheads the person that's talking shit.
Yeah.
And there's other times where he'll talk just as much shit on the people, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like
In front of people.
in
Yeah.
front of people, yeah.
Not in private.
Yeah. But Viserys is probably my favorite. But now, what about most hated?
I'm going to let you go first. I want to save mine.
Oh God, that's so hard because the tail end of season 2, man, like Otto, I would have said probably Otto.
Mm-hmm.
But they then to see him in a cage, I was still slightly happy. I will say I'm a very unforgiving watcher sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I'll get a grudge with someone. Like for instance, Theon. I never turned back for Theon. Like in Game of Thrones, gets tortured, turned into reek.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, like, you know, whatever, like,
Yeah.
just because the betrayal of like Rob, like, I never forgave him. I was
No.
just like Cersei. I never once felt pity for Cersei.
Nope.
Some people are like, oh, the walk of shame. Like, I feel bad. I'm like, nope, fuck this lady, dude.
One of our buttons.
She's. And I'm not saying that's the right way to watch.
Yeah.
But I can hold a grudge,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that was that way for Otto. But both dressing down his grandson when he got fired that last time,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of helped him win me back a little bit. Seeing him in a cage, I was still mixed. Where I'm like, oh, it sucks because he
Yeah.
kind of won me back a little bit, but still, there's a big part that I don't like him. So I
Yeah.
also don't know where that cage is because that's the other thing. Neither of us have read this
Nope.
as well. I mean, with this, the crazy thing about this is written more like a history, so it's not as like narrative. Like it's a little bit more
Yeah.
like, and then 6 years later this happened, and like so
Yeah.
like there's a lot of stuff the show's kind of building out that wasn't truly in the text. But because I'm enjoying the show, I'm avoiding like reading anything. I
Yeah.
do think I've had a couple spoilers, including
You talked about one with Joffrey mentioned someone's
Joffrey
demise.
mentioned someone. I like to tell myself that maybe I heard some names wrong and I don't know exactly what's going to happen. But
Keep telling yourself that,
I have a fear that I know how something.
I will say that up until we had that conversation when I told you that I was watching House of the Dragon, last episode, I kept it as a surprise for you. You came up and talked to me the following week when I was still watching. I had 1 or 2 more episodes left. You told me that Joffrey story, and I was like, thank God he did, because seriously, I was going to go back and watch like the best moments of Game of Thrones on YouTube, or all the major deaths on Game of Thrones characters, because I'm just craving more of this universe and everything.
Yeah.
I am avoiding Game of Thrones like the fucking plague until I can watch more House of the Dragon.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
for most hated, Kristen Cole.
thank you. Thank you.
Fuck Christian Cole.
Kristen.
I don't even gonna say his name not Christian. I'm gonna call him Christian.
It-
Fuck you, Christian Cole.
I'm guessing that's your most hated too.
Fuck you.
Even
you sanctimonious, hypocritical piece of shit.
I will say the nihilistic element that's entered him since that battle in the midway through season 2, he's won me back a tiny bit because it's like that element of like a completely nihilistic where it's like we're almost World War I-ish where it's like, what's the purpose here? We're just going to be fucking annihilated. Like they're just like that element almost it certainly makes him a way more interesting character. I can't say that he's even won me back a lot, but there was a little bit where I'm like, I don't know, because he just drives me crazy. Like he's
Fuck him.
he's your most hated.
He is my most hated character because he says to Rhaenyra how dishonorable it was. He goes out of his way to murder an innocent man who he thought, oh, it's going to be him. He's going to be Rhaenyra's side piece. I'm going to be this guy's, her husband's side piece. I don't remember his name. The High Tide Prince.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, his
that's actually kind of breaking some people that are readers because in the book he dies.
Christian Cole?
No,
Kristen.
her first husband.
Oh, her first husband.
Rhaenyra's first husband. But in the show they kind of gave him a happy ending to like whatever. The problem is
He dies. What are you talking about? He dies.
The son?
He dies.
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he
They
does.
fake his death.
He's in the fire.
No, he isn't. You see him with a shaved head taking a fucking boat off to.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah. They gave him a happy ending.
Well, who's in the fire?
I don't remember if they established who it is, but it's definitely not him. So he's
You're
not
fucking with
So
me.
he's not dead. So that's breaking a lot of people's brains because in the way the lore is, a dragon will not take another rider if their previous rider's still alive. So like when the dragon ends up picking the new rider, which looks a lot like his previous rider, there's people who are speculating that he died off screen wherever because he takes a boat to like Volantis maybe or
Yeah.
something. You see him but he does get a haircut, so maybe that's why you didn't recognize him. But yeah, he goes off to do his own thing.
Lenor.
Yeah, Lenor. Yeah.
Is he really alive?
Well, there's question being brought now because the dragon picks someone else. Because again, in the books, a dragon will not take another rider if their rider's still alive.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, Ted, you are blowing my fucking mind.
Let's see. Let me move down my list here. So what do you think of the dragons?
I think one of my favorite things about the show is the different styles of dragons.
Yeah, different looks, different sounds.
They're not-
different. There's even different personalities to them all.
They're different sizes, different colors. I love the personalities too. That's
different
great.
personalities, different. Because I feel like with Daenerys's, I feel like there was Drogon, and there's the other two. For me.
Exactly.
Like they just felt like red shirt 1 and red shirt 2 to me, whereas like Drogon was like the main fucking dragon. He was bigger and stuff. So I guess there was a little bit of a multitude between those three, but it was nowhere what we're seeing now. I mean, now you got dragons that are different colors. Apparently, into the 3rd season, there's a dragon that we've only caught small glimpses of that's blue. That in the 3rd season we'll probably see it in action. It actually has blue fire because the fire like reflects their color.
Oh.
In some cases, because apparently like the big dragon that was like the Conqueror's dragon, which actually Viserys is the last one to ride, which is a cool thing because he wasn't a dragon rider for long, but he rode Baelorn the Dread, the biggest dragon that's beyond anything we've ever seen. He rode him a couple times before the dragon died. He had black flames, and it was a black dragon. So there's one that's probably going to be in season 3 because we've seen it in passing. You'll see it in the sky a couple times in the show, and it's blue. And in the story, it shoots blue fire. So there's some really cool.
The Black Dread.
The Black Dread, yeah, Baelorn the Black Dread.
Baelorn, also known as the Black Dread.
Yeah, like so, but that's always a cool little like for non-readers is that Viserys, the king through a good chunk of the first season of this show, was the last one to ride that dragon because they live hundreds of years. I'm also going to take a step back. Aemond Targaryen, the prince that is kind of in charge at the end of it all, he might be a rival for most hated for me. Actually,
Really?
I wasn't thinking about him, but he might actually top Kristen
Which
Cole.
one? I'm sorry.
Aemond.
Oh, Aemon? The one eye?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, the thing with him is that he's just evil.
Yeah. But I mean,
So,
evil, giant dragon, like,
Yeah.
he's formidable for sure.
he's outnumbered like 7-1 now.
Now
so.
he's outnumbered a lot. He's also completely wiped away. Like, all these people insult him in small ways. He, like, drives them out, like,
Yep.
kicks his mom off the council.
Yep.
Like, there's just all kinds of.
Otto.
Yeah, Otto. Like, there's just. Yeah,
Didn't he talk his brother into getting rid of Otto, or did he do it?
No, didn't Viserys do that? Or, not.
Aegon.
Larys. Larys did.
Larys
that.
did?
Larys got in his ear and he's like, well, that was your father's hand.
Yeah.
Do you really want him or do you want to do your own?
Right. So he was the one that dismissed him, not Aegon, right?
No, Aegon did.
Aegon did. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. He was already, and then there was the whole conversation with Larys where it's like you need a hand, and he's like, okay, well you can go find my grandfather. What, you thought it was going to be you?
Yeah.
So
Right.
yeah.
I will say that I like 2 characters a little bit more than I should probably. It's the
Embrace it. Go on.
the 2 daughters of shit, I just spaced on his name. The uncle that married Rhaenyra.
Oh, Damon.
Damon.
Yeah, his
2 daughters. Dude,
Yeah.
they're so fucking badass. Where they're just like, yeah, we're with you. Like, all behind you and everything like that. And then the one goes to the Vale to try and tame a wild dragon and everything. She runs off on her own. the balls on that kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hayden says Giancarlo and Brian are also great examples of actors that are so good it makes you feel certain things about the characters.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And then Mike says rules for future fantasy shows, books, movies. You can use regular names. It's easier for us to remember.
Yeah, no shit.
The names in this
Fucking
entire
hell.
universe, it's not just this show, but this whole universe.
I mean, at least we got Jon Snow, for fuck's sake, in Game of Thrones. I can remember that shit.
Also, so the dragons, it's because I think House of the Dragon, you expect there should be good dragon stuff in this.
I was honestly,
and there has been.
I was honestly a little worried that there wasn't going to be as much. That it was all okay. So I need to start off with saying, I think I told you this already, or maybe I told my wife. One of my favorite things about the House of the Dragon is what me and you both loved from the early seasons of Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
It's the Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
Who is in power? How
Yeah.
do they get in power? The
machinations.
backstabbing, and all that stuff, and the movings and shakings, and the
Yeah.
shh, I have a secret, and the
Yeah.
little finger, and the sparrow, and all these different little finger, Dinklage's character.
You just said Dinklage. Now it's gone into my mind. Tyrion.
Yeah, Tyrion,
Tyrion Lannister.
Jaime and Cersei and the Starks and what's Daenerys up to? And
Yeah.
that's what made Game of Thrones so good for me. Is it's like, okay, what's gonna happen next? Who's gonna end up on the throne?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Joffrey got assassinated. I mean,
Yeah.
spoiler for Game of Thrones if you haven't watched it.
That is the future, of course.
Yeah, it is.
Which is did that? Were you able to like continue track everything when it comes to that?
Oh, it was so easy because the first
thing
episode,
it
the
tells
very
you.
first season, tells me when I am, what's going on, and here's what you need to care about. That right there is what really got me into the show. Is that first scene?
Yeah, with the council.
The council, the huge council deciding on who the heir is going to be.
Yeah.
and everything like that. That's really what sucked me in. Is I was like, okay, is it going to be the aunt?
What do you think of Rhaenys, the queen that ever was?
The queen that never was. I didn't like her at first with the shit that she said to Rhaenyra about because her dad was potentially marrying the queen that never was daughter, and she's like 10.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Which
I
sadly is
won't
real-
have to bed you until you're 14. It's like that's not any better, bud. That's not good.
Yeah.
But I mean, in that universe, obviously, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the shit she said to Rhaenyra there, and I'm like, you're being a vindictive cow. I didn't like her at first, but then I realized, like reflecting back and everything like that, I'm like, yeah, she kind of has a right to be,
Yeah.
because Rhaenyra is now going to be the first queen ever and everything like that.
Yeah.
It should have just been her.
Yeah, exactly. I liked her a lot. She was up there for me. So for her noble end,
Yeah.
bummed me out. Although I saw it coming, I was like,
Yeah.
this isn't going to work out.
Yeah. As soon as she's like, send me, I'm like, she's dead.
Yeah. Although she's an experienced dragon rider, I think that hers is like the next biggest. Next to Aemon's.
Yep.
It's either hers or Damon's. Those three
No,
have
Damon's
three,
is a little bit smaller.
those three have like the biggest and oldest dragons.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think her dragon is one of the ones that was during the conquest.
Yeah.
Like there was Baeleron, and there was I forget One Eye's dragon's name, the giant one. That was part of the conquest as well. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to say Rhaenys' dragon. Those are three that still exist from the fucking Conqueror.
Yeah.
So like those are old, experienced dragons.
Yeah.
So and she's an experienced rider. So I kind of thought like, oh, she might actually have a chance. Because at this point now, my biggest rooting interest is just Aemon dying. That's
Yeah.
probably my main thing. I'm like, I want to see him fucking humbled, and I want to see his dragon fucking destroyed, and I want to see him die miserably. Like
Yeah.
I've kind of lost that edge a little bit for Otto. I probably still have that for Kristen Cole.
Cole needs to die a horrible fucking death.
And I
that
kind of
hypocrite.
assume he will.
Fucking hypocrite.
I think that there may have actually been a Kristen Cole name call in Game of Thrones in the final
really?
couple seasons when they have that Book of Nights when
okay.
Jaime's like flipping through it talking to like Brienne. I think that I believe Otto gets not Otto. Kristen, I believe, gets a shout in there. So yeah. Let's see.
But yeah, so that's what I really liked about Game of Thrones was like the whole politically maneuvering.
The machinations.
So
and
that
stuff.
that first season really drew me in with like, he doesn't have an heir. Is it going to be his brother? Is it going to be? Is it going to be Alicent's son? Is it going to be his firstborn living kid? Is it going to be his daughter? And everything.
Yeah.
So that really kind of drew me in. And then he names his daughter the heir, but marries Alicent, and Otto is instantly in her ear about.
Yeah.
she'll kill your kids.
Yeah.
She's gonna drink their blood. It's like, shut the fuck up,
I
Otto.
mean, he's not wrong though.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not, because that is a legit thing throughout time. Throughout their histories, it's like whenever there's any kind of a challenge, like once Alicent marries, it's like, yeah, because you're now going to start having sex with the king. You're probably going to have kids. If one of those is a male, you are a fucking threat. You will be the main threat to her. I mean, and that's what Daenerys ends up getting to the point where she's like, once she finds out that Jon's a Targaryen, it's like, in her mind, a part of it plays through where it's like, you're now a threat to my standing. You can't tell anyone.
Yeah.
Right? It's just that, especially if it's female versus male, there's always going to be that. So I'm not going to say like Otto didn't hype her a little bit more than he needed to, but he's not entirely wrong that ultimately Alicent and whatever kids she might have would always be a threat to Rhaenyra. So
I knew you were going to take this stance, and I knew that was going to be the defense of Otto, and that's bullshit. Because the problem with that is that that's saying that anyone's going to want him to be king over her. As soon as they saw what kind of piece of shit he is, why the fuck do you want him to be king?
I don't know, man. It comes down to like the patriarchy type stuff where it's like people are just going to look at, we've never had a queen. We want a king.
That's what pisses me off about Alicent, is because it doesn't seem like anyone fucking cares about that except the High Council.
Oh, when Aemond fired her. Oh my God, dude. That was so good.
Oh, yeah.
Essentially what she's perpetuated against Rhaenyra now blew up in her face.
Yep.
Where it's like,
you're a woman.
yeah, you should have better things to do.
Yeah,
go bake a pie.
Yeah,
like, it's essentially,
that's literally what I was gonna say. Is go bake something.
It's just, and not that I liked it, because I started to feel for her a bit, but it's like it kind of was like a comeuppance a little bit for her, where it's like, you kind of deserve this. Like you've kind of facilitated a lot of this shit against.
Well, that's
who was your
that's
best
kind
friend.
of how I feel about Otto as well. Is it's like, fuck around, find out.
Well, he was very manipulative. I mean, sending
don't start shit. That's my thing with Otto, is that if he doesn't start shit, let's hypothesize here.
Oh, I mean,
he gets sent off. He never comes back. He never says anything to Alicent about her kids or anything shit like that. You got Alicent and Rhaenyra, who are best friends.
Yeah.
Does he drive the wedge between them because he's the one that did it? So if he doesn't do that, they're still best friends. Are her kids like her fucking night number 1, night number 2 kind of thing? And Rhaenyra kind of helps raise them instead of driving this wedge between them where they're fighting all the fucking time and butting heads?
It's possible, but I think it's like the demand of like the larger populace might be like, oh, well, the king now has a true-born son. Like,
but we saw throughout this show that they don't give a fuck.
I mean, I don't know. They were way more friendly about, God, I'm just blanking. I almost said Ares.
Aegon?
Aegon, yeah. Like, they were, like, way too... Like, when he wasn't really a great king, but they were, like, kind of being positive about him and stuff. So it's like, I don't know. It's tough to... And again, I will say that if you want to point to Otto's greatest sin, it's earlier than that when he sends his young daughter to the widowed king and says, hey, let's put this sexy dress of your mom's on you and send you.
Yeah. Let's take it back to where it all started.
I'm not defending Otto. I'm just defending.
No, I know.
I'm just defending that element of when he's telling her, like, your kids will always be a threat to her rule. Like, so there is a chance she will kill your.
There's a
children.
chance. That's what I'm saying. There's a chance. He's making it a certainty to her. He's like, no, that's a threat. She will kill your kids. And I'm like, bitch, have you met her?
Yeah.
She does not seem the type that's going to go murder kids in their bed. In fact, I'm pretty sure she got fucking pissed when someone went into the tower and cut the kid's head off.
Oh, man.
She got pretty fucking pissed.
But at the end of of it all, when they're meeting up again, though, self-fulfilling prophecy, one of Rhaenyra... I mean, I know that now there's like a crowning and stuff, but one of Rhaenyra's things is like, I'm going to kill your kids.
Yeah.
Like, so it
Yeah, because they're fucking murderers. Like... Aegon is just a dumbass. Honestly, let's be perfectly honest. Aegon's a dumbass. Aemon, though, is a fucking sociopath who already killed one of her sons.
Yeah.
So
and let me just point out too, that scene, maybe one of the best dragon scenes I've ever seen in any
media
ever.
Oh,
that is just it was like a horror movie. Like just that shot of like the smaller dragon, then you see the fucking shadow of that larger one over, like, oh my God, dude.
And then you think that he got away, he's all flying up into the clear.
Oh, I knew. I knew. I'm like,
no.
Yeah, once he saw the giant dragon, I'm like, he's dead.
He's dead.
I'm like, I don't know. And now we're all finding out that's kind of like the inciting incident of the whole thing, and like a lesser show that didn't care about the relationship of the two, that probably would have been like episode 1 or 2, and then you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that was brilliantly
so
shot.
good.
I mean, that dragon is terrifying.
It is.
I mean, and the crazy thing with Aemond is I feel like a lot of us felt bad for him as a kid because he didn't have a dragon. They all picked on him.
Yeah.
He ends up losing the eye, but it's like all that leads
No,
into being like,
no, that's where I turned on him. Is that shit in down there where he started mouthing off and everything like that? I got a dragon out of it, da 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 da, and all that shit. That fight where he punches the girls who are upset they just lost their mother,
Yeah.
and now he's claimed her dragon before anyone else has a chance. He snuck around and did it.
Yeah.
You know? No. Fuck him. That's where I turned on Aemon. I was with you. I was sympathetic. I'm like, oh, he's going to end up being a good guy because they're just picking on him so much.
Yeah.
No, they created a fucking monster is the
Yeah.
problem.
yeah. Let's see. So what about the Song of Ice and Fire element, like basically the prophecy? Because that's actually
it's pretty cool.
Apparently, that was not in the books at all. That's actually been added by the show, of the idea that basically there is this. I mean, I believe there's like the prophecy, but like the fact that it's being passed down and like the dagger and like there's stuff that
There's no one who knows about it except the king and his heir.
yeah.
Like, the other people don't know about it. It's kind of interesting that they keep that kind of close to the vest like that. Because, like, Allison doesn't know about it. And that's why Rhaenyra reacts when Allison brings it up and
Yeah.
everything. And that's why there's the misunderstanding.
The
He's talking about Aegon. That's not
The
your
conqueror,
son.
yeah.
Aegon, that's not your son, Allison. That's
Yeah.
the other one. There's 5 of them. I know it's confusing.
It really is.
Stop
dude.
naming your fucking kid that.
And like we only touch on a couple of them. The main one, the one in this show, and Jon Snow. But there's like I think at
Yeah.
least 3 others that we're not talking about that aren't in this timeline. So,
Hayden says, I'm excited for the new animated special, How to Train Your Targaryen. Mike says, not rated G. It'll be 5 minutes long.
I really love that prophecy element though.
Yeah.
And then I know a lot of people kind of didn't really care for like the Daemon and Harrenhal. They felt it dragged out too long. I can kind of see that, but the way it finally resolved itself of him actually being exposed to the prophecy through the visions, I loved.
And then bending the knee.
And then that being the thing where it's like I don't want this. Like that's
mm-mm.
that between that and I think seeing his brother again was all big stuff. But
Yeah.
I kind of liked the Harrenhal because I mean Harrenhal's like known to be like this haunted,
Yeah.
evil place and like cursed where like if you become the lord of it you will end up dying
Yeah.
a heinous death. So it's like
Yep.
it was kind of cool to be.
I
in,
kept
like,
expecting to see Macbeth talking to a skull or something up there, you know, like it's
Pretty
so
much.
fucking haunted.
pretty much. But yeah, I enjoyed at least him having that vision, then that kind of bringing him in line. But I do love the idea of the prophecy because I think it does tie the series together a bit, and also because now you're going to also see the devastation of what this. Because ultimately, we know this civil war between Targaryens, the Dance of Dragons, is what ends up obliterating the dragons.
Yeah.
Like that's what destroys the Targaryen
Yep.
dynasty. Is this like now Targaryens continue to exist after this?
For 100 or so years until Baratheon Rebellion.
Exactly. So
Robert's Rebellion.
Robert's Rebellion. But it comes down to a thing where it's just like we kind of know this is like a shitty thing that ends up happening, but it's just cool because now building this whole thing where it's like, oh, the warning for what's going to be the fucking Game of Thrones
Yeah.
stuff gets lost because of all this shit, because
It
of
really-
these
yeah.
games, because of the greed of like I want my kids in there, like
Mm-hmm.
all that all the machination, all the shit we love ends up causing not just the death of all the dragons, but it's going to cause the breaking of
Right.
this
The safety.
yeah, like
It's also so frustrating as well that if you could just sit the 10 characters down and just be like, listen, motherfuckers, up north, there's a really, really bad man. He's got a couple of cronies, and he can raise the dead.
well, not yet, but he will be.
If you don't have dragons, he's going to fuck everyone's shit up.
Yeah.
Sort it out.
Yeah.
Lock the door and walk away. Whoever lives after that is king or
Yeah.
queen. Fuck it.
So you said you like Daemon?
I do like Daemon.
Because I have to point out, Daemon's got to be probably the most complex character
He
in
is
this
so
entire
complex.
universe. Not even out of Game of Thrones. Like
Yeah.
he's just there's so much to this character, and
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see it play out. It's funny because I always hear people like, "Well, I've read it, so I know how so and so dies." I'm like, and they're, "Oh, sorry, was that a spoiler?" I'm like, "No, they're all gonna die.
They
Like,
all die.
like, there's no one's walking away.
No one's
I
walking
mean,
away for 150 years into Game of Thrones.
Exactly,
so-
and that's the thing. Is of course some might walk way out of the war. I'm trying to avoid all those spoilers as much as I can, but it's like when people like mention like, "Oh, so and so dies," I'm like, "Well,
So-
yeah," because like the next story
Yeah.
is like 200 years later.
So
like,
I had something. I thought I spoiled something because remember you told me not to watch, and so I wasn't looking anything up. But at the end of season 2, Aemon goes to his simple-minded sister,
yeah,
the queen.
I love her.
I love
yeah,
her to death too.
And all of her shit's legit.
Yeah,
Helena.
Helena. Thank
Yeah.
you.
What
he
she
goes
say,
to her and
scared
he's
of
like,
she's scared of the rats.
yeah, and he's
And then
like,
the next episode's the blood and cheese, which is
Yep.
oh my god.
and he's like, you're gonna ride with me, and she's like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna burn anyone, and I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, whose kid is this? Like, I couldn't remember who her parents were and everything.
Yeah.
So I went and looked her up, and it's like in the wiki, it's like deceased, and I'm like, oh, wait, this is like, this is like in Game of Thrones time.
yeah.
Is she alive? No,
Yeah.
she's fucking dead.
Yeah, this would say that I'm trying to think of who died at the end of Game of Thrones. Like Gregor or Sandor Clegane, the Hound would say.
Yeah.
It would say he's deceased too.
It would
'cause-
say he's just exactly.
'cause-
The wiki's gonna say everyone's dead. If
Yeah.
you're not alive in episode X of season 8 of Game of Thrones, you're fucking dead.
yeah, you're dead. Exactly.
Like Ned Stark, dead.
Yeah. What about the Dragon Seed massacre? The new riders put all those new
Oh,
all
God.
the bastards.
Oh,
That was and like there's where I was like, okay, there's still some evil to Rhaenyra, because like it's one thing to bring all those people in there, but the guards not letting the people leave.
yep.
That,
We need riders.
that was
Deal with it.
Yeah.
Oh, well, can't get riders. Might as well feed them.
Oh, that was brutal though.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that, and then there was the Dance of Dragon, the actual battle, right?
Yeah.
I forget the name of the town. But
The one right across the bay, the little tiny castle.
where the king ends up getting fucked up and
Yeah,
his dragon
by his
gets
brother.
killed. Yeah, by his brother. But he insulted his brother. That's the thing to track with Aemon. Everyone that fucking puts him down in any way, he eliminates or
him and Jace are gonna go head to head.
oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, because he's whatever. But it was the whorehouse, right? He comes in and starts making fun of him and shit. I was like, that's not gonna work out for you, man. So then when that battle started to happen, I'm like, uh-oh. When the king
And
showed
the
up,
king shows up, you're like, dude,
yeah, this is the wrong place for you, man.
according to your shirt, he has chosen poorly.
Yes, although if it wasn't for him showing up, there's a chance that Aemon dies, because I do think Rhaenys had a chance, even against the larger dragon, because
Really?
she's more experienced. She's actually fought battles and
Yeah.
stuff, so it's like her being experienced with a pretty big dragon. Yes, that other dragon's bigger, but it's a very inexperienced rider. I think without that
It's
third,
also slower.
without
too.
that third dragon
Yeah.
coming in, I think she wins that. I think she kills him.
Yeah.
So, which was my rooting thing. I was like, she's probably gonna die. The way this has all been set up, she's gonna die. But please, God, let her kill Aemon.
Yeah.
And
one for one. We'll trade that.
Yeah, just I mean, the problem is though, storytelling wise, you can't take that dragon off the board.
No.
Because like even now they're outnumbered. Like now Rhaenyra's side is
And now
stronger.
Aemon can't leave King's Landing because he has to protect it with his big ass dragon.
Yeah, and he can't get Helena to ride her dragon.
Nope.
So,
Is
and
he
then
by himself?
And then her saying like you're gonna die, like
Yeah.
whatever. Like, and then what does she say? The king's on a throne of wood, and it's like, well, he's being now carted out to God knows where with Laris.
Yeah.
So, which actually makes me think, and I know I'm opening myself up here, but it makes me wonder if that's the line for Daenerys.
Is him?
If he ends up, I don't know, because he's now leaving Westeros essentially. Well, when we first meet up with Daenerys and her brother, they're not in Westeros.
No, she escapes Westeros. Her brother remembers Westeros. Remember that. Her brother remembers Westeros and barely escaped.
Well, I mean, yeah, because they're the kids of the.
They're in Dragonstone
But
because
it
she
makes
comes
you-
home.
But it's still, yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
It's interesting with that character.
You brought up Daenerys, and I know we're at time right now, but we got a couple more things we got to talk about. How many times have you seen a dragon egg and go, is that her eggs?
We do
Is
see
that
her
her
eggs, dude.
When do you see her eggs?
Confirmed. It's the ones they send up to the Vale.
That's
With
them?
with
Those three?
Yeah. They confirmed that those are indeed Daenerys'
Because those
eggs.
ones got shipped overseas,
Yeah. So
which would make sense.
yeah, and then her finding the sheep eater, the
Yeah.
random dragon was pretty cool because
That's what I was saying. It's the daughters.
Yeah.
Dude, badass.
yeah, they're great. So what did you think of the end of season 2?
That was all right.
Because there's some people complaining that like it felt like at the end of season 1 it was like cool, the table's now set, we're ready to go. And at the end of season 2 it feels like we're at the same spot where it's like, okay, everything's set, we're ready to go.
No.
A lot of shit happened in season 2,
Yeah.
yes, but there were some people, and even me, I was a little bit like, really? That's how you're going to end it? It feels to me like there should have been one more episode and give me just the next battle. It doesn't have to be some decisive end of the thing, because I think there's going to be multiple battles coming.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I even feel like I've heard that like there's a significant battle that, and
Well, we got the Navy ships, the pirates coming.
yeah, and I think what it comes down to is I do think that fucking that piece of shit Zaslav in charge of Warner Brothers, Discovery, HBO, cut 2 episodes of what they plan to do for this season. So I think they originally intended this to be 9 or 10 episodes, and then he's like, no, I don't want to spend that much, so cut it back. So I do think that maybe the intention was for that to end on like a bigger battle or whatever. But
They got their hands tied.
who's your MVP for the seasons?
Season 1 was young Rhaenyra.
Okay,
She was just amazing.
I'd go
I already
Viserys,
mentioned,
but yeah, no, it's
I already mentioned my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Is her showing up and just bitch slapping her uncle
yeah,
in the face and getting her brother's dragon back,
yeah,
the egg and everything. Just like, fuck you, dude,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Season 2,
it's tough.
there was someone I really liked in season 2, and now I'm drawing a blank.
I do love the kid that ends up in charge that makes Damon execute that guy. That Damon had the guys go out and massacre a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah.
And then he
Yeah.
it's a Muppet. It's a Muppet name. 'Cause
Yeah.
George R. Martin wrote like this whole thing where it's like Grover, Elmo,
Yeah.
like the whole the show.
He's like the Lord of the Riverlands.
He's like 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because his grandfather died.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think his grandfather's
He was
Oscar.
pretty cool. No, I think my MVP for season 2 has got to be Damon, because of the character growth and everything that we saw with him and Harrenhal.
Yeah.
Like I thought that all was pretty cool.
I loved it all. Some people were starting to get tired of it and bitching,
yeah.
but me, I loved it. I was like, dude, this is fucking cool. Dude.
Gonzo the Surf.
Dude, yeah, no, but legit, Hayden, yeah, there's this whole the 4 or 5 people, this family, and he ended up naming them like Oscar, Grover, Elmo, and he's one of
Ernie.
them. Something like,
Something
yeah.
like that.
So they're all like Sesame Street
As long
characters.
as someone's
like,
not named Big Bird, for
no,
fuck's sake.
no, but okay, so let's see. So that also they've announced that 4 seasons is what the show's going to run. So we're at the midway point of this. Are you following the development of anything else that's being developed right now?
No.
Okay, so the only other thing that's coming out next year is Duncan and the Egg, which is down the road from this. But it's like, and we have reference to them in Game of Thrones. It's apparently this big ass fucking 7-foot something knight and a really small like Targaryen kid, and I don't know, they're like legends in like the whole Game of Thrones thing. So they got that show coming out. There's been rumors that they may also be developing some other stuff. Is there anything you really want from this universe show wise? If they were like developing, hey Peter, we're going to do some other Game of Thrones stuff. What would you want to see? Like choices of like the Conqueror, for instance. Aegon's Conquest.
I would not say no to a conquering show.
Robert's Rebellion is one that a lot of people are.
Uh,
I used to feel that way, but I've turned. I kind of want. I want to see it, man.
I was on board with that when they announced that there was going to be a prequel. I'm like, oh, cool, Robert's Rebellion. That's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
And then they're like, no, we're going to go farther back. We're going to go to the Targaryens' Civil War. And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's dragons.
Yeah. But there's
that's what I did. Honestly, I feel like the problem with Robert's Rebellion is I don't feel like there's much of a story that you can give me. Robert rebels.
But it's all
the Targaryens wronged him. It's the Mad King. Great. We're gonna recast all those characters then to be younger.
Well, you already have younger versions of Robert or
you did when the show ended. What, 10 years ago? How old do they look now? They can't play younger versions of themselves.
It ended in like 2018. That's not 10 years ago. So
by the time you get to it, it'll be 15
and what
years.
if the actors like Jesse Pinkman, Aaron Paul, and doesn't age much?
It depends on the actor. You're right, but I'm just saying.
But to see like Robert
Honestly,
and the giant fucking like helmet with the horns and the
Yeah.
giant fucking hammer collapsing people's chests. And heads.
Don't get me wrong, but that's one episode. That's not 3-4 seasons. What are you going to tell?
I think you do.
We've already told half of it.
Yeah,
through flashbacks.
But
and
we
stuff.
haven't seen any of the battles. We haven't seen a lot of the. We've heard elements of
They
like.
don't show battles. That's the thing. Look at House of the Dragon. How many battles have we had, Ted?
Yeah, that's a complaint some people have, but I mean,
That's what I'm saying. Is like.
but this show would be like that would be one of the main.
You're not going to get
things.
the. You're probably not going to get the Conquering because there's too much CGI and too much money for Max to shell out. Warner Brothers. Honestly, if I
Mike
got
says 2 seasons. I think that's about right for Robert's Rebellion. A couple seasons is all.
honestly, you know what I would love is I would love a something up at the wall.
Yeah, and Hayden said
Building the initial ice wall
love
would
to
be
see
a
how the
great
White Walkers
miniseries.
how the White Walkers come to be. Yeah, Bran the Builder that
Yeah.
builds the wall would be pretty incredible. There's a lot. This is a rich universe. Like we're like Dark Tower fans, and King is pretty like tight with his narratives. Like there's room to expand in places, but like George R. R. Martin's your average fantasy writer, dude. His shit's so fucking like Tolkien-esque bloated.
Honestly,
there's a million things they can pull out of this.
Honestly, give me 100 years in the future from Game of Thrones. Where are we at?
Yeah.
Let me hear future characters talk about Daenerys and Jon Snow, Aegon.
Yeah.
Let me hear her talk about Bran the Wise. You know?
Yeah.
Isn't that what they called him? Bran the Wise or Bran the Good?
Bran the Broken.
Bran the Broken.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's good. I'm glad you watched it. I'm glad to do this episode too, because like I watched it and I've listened to podcasts and stuff. But overall, like I didn't have a lot of people to geek out with because I didn't know a lot of people that watched it. So it's like
you got me, bro.
I'm glad you finally got around to watching it so we can actually chat it up.
You can't be out here shaming disabled people. That's not cool, man. HBO Thursday late night shame walk confessions. Bran the Broken can't. Dude, that's not cool, man. We just mentioned him. How dare you?
I think there's some cool ideas. My idea is if you ever do the Conqueror, because the problem is that he only torches a few things before everyone's like, all right, we give up.
We give up.
My thought is tell that story from the Westerosi side. Set it up where like the whole first season there's no fucking Targaryens.
Yeah.
You set up a bunch of different set up the kingdom, set up the people. Harrenhal's like this fucking new
massive,
castle.
beautiful.
And then like almost play it like a fucking like invasion horror movie, invasion/horror movie, where then the fucking Conqueror comes in and just like, oh my fucking god, like we can't fight this.
Mike makes a good point. 100 years in the future could be the start of their industrial revolution. Imagine that. Imagine a Game of Thrones 100 years into the future, and we're starting to see like the inventions of like steam engines or gunpowder or something.
Yeah.
I mean, we already got kind of the alchemy in Game of Thrones and everything like that for it to be kind of established a little bit, but that'd be kind of cool.
And we can get what's her name from The Conjuring to come in as the Red Witch.
Yeah.
As long as she has that necklace, she could still be there 100 years later.
She could be.
Just don't let her take it off.
No.
But yeah, this is great. I'm glad we did this. Let's go ahead and hit up what we got coming up for next time. There we go. Lost the slide. What do you got? Next one's you, number 42.
We're going to talk about The Crow. Can't rain all the time.
I was just thinking about that movie recently, so
we got the new movie came out.
Bill Skarsgård.
Bill Skarsgård. I kind of want to see it. Tad doesn't seem like he can.
I might still see it. I'm bummed that the reviews are not great.
I'm not going to promise that we see it, but we might before then. But for sure, we are going to be talking about the 1994.
Is it 94? Either way. And Mike says the episode 42 not about the Hitchhiker's Guide. I don't think either of us have been exposed to that. So.
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy?
Yeah.
No. Yep, 1994.
Well, at least it's flag related.
1994, The Crow. We're gonna do a deep dive talking about that.
I love that movie.
It's such a great movie.
Yeah.
It's one that it's one of the movies that my wife uses as an example that she didn't know what good movies was until she met me. And that's one of the ones that she points to as an example when she talks to people. She's like, yeah, Peter really introduced me to good movies. Stuff like The Crow.
What do you say? You say I exposed you to a lot of good movies. I know
Halloween.
I know you had seen good
Horror.
movies before, but
horror. Everything horror.
Yeah.
Dude, I thought Ghost in the Darkness was horror when I was a kid.
And Halloween would be one you'd name.
Halloween is in my top 3 movies.
Okay.
We literally, my wife and I were in bed the other night. We were looking at Instagram, and there was a boyfriend quiz. And I gave it to my wife just for fun to see what she said. And it said, what's his favorite movie? And she's like, it's between Halloween and Star Wars Episode 4. And I'm like, you are correct. And she goes, which one? I'm like, yes.
Yes.
You
can't name a favorite movie. That's such an unfair question, man. That's like saying to a music fan, like, what's your all-time favorite song? Like, maybe tell them, like, what's your favorite album? That's different. But one song, like, how do you compare like Green Day versus the Beatles versus Led Zeppelin versus Queen? Like those are just so different. Like I don't know.
Hayden says his favorite movie's Anchorman.
Yeah, that's Hayden, and Anchorman makes sense for Hayden.
It's true.
It's one of his favorites. Now I'm starting to get reels for Anchorman. I sent every one of them to Hayden because I know he loves it. But yeah, so next time we'll talk to Crow. I can't wait. I've loved that movie since I was a wee lad.
So dismissive.
No, not dismissive. No, it makes sense that because I mean, I don't know. It makes sense that you'd be able to have I mean, some people can certainly, but for me, movies are just too big of a thing where I'm like, I can't pick one, man.
As you can tell
and
behind you.
because one time it was about 10, 15 years ago, you were like, I want a top 10 list of movies for you. I'm like, fuck you.
You
Well,
literally got offended. It's one of the only times Tad's ever got offended with me. He was like hard on, like, dude, fuck you.
Yeah, and I told you, I said I'll do top 10 of the main genres. But I'm not doing top 10, period. Because how do you compare a Western to a drama? And how do you compare those to Star Wars? How do you compare that? It's apples and oranges. So, and I did top 10 genres, and now we've been doing that over the course of this show.
have.
I think
the most recent one we did was top 10 action, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
So, we'll be back next time in a fortnight for The Crow. And can't wait for that. And I'll sign off as I always do by saying, love what you love. Let your geek flag fly high, and to hell with anyone that says anything about guilty pleasures.
The North remembers.
That's a good one. I like that. All right. See you guys.
Bye, everyone.